And now... the amphitheater is small compared to the massive one I've seen in Rome. Oh, by the way, this game has a lot of like political kind of things that goes on, but you enjoy. It might only be able to fit 100 people at most, though Alex tells me that the really big one is in the city center. He sits next to me on the bottom bench with the stairs between us as we watch Amicus stand alone in the center of the pit. He has his paws on his hip, looking around waiting. Well, I don't think he's here. Clearly. Do you want to be my sparring partner for the day, Alex? No! Alex scrunches up, one paw going up to the cover his earrings as Amicus just laugh. I look around, not seeing the old wolf anywhere. So he's our love interest, this guy right here. Are you gonna get in trouble, Amicus? Amicus shrugs, leaning one way, then the other in sort of a stretch. Probably, but Kato is always upset. He'll probably just make me train an extra hour tomorrow or something. Besides, I got most of my exercise at the lake. Amicus suddenly does a handstand with his feet poking straight up in the air, and I'm amazed that he's able to keep perfectly balanced. Alex quickly looks away as the hanging on the cloth on the wolf's undergarment falls upwards, even if everything's still covered. Well, mostly. I can see the lighter color fur that cover his front also covering his inner thigh. Then Amicus falls backwards, keeping his paw on the ground while his feet lands with a thump. The wolf's back arch, making a bridge. It's kind of impressive seeing such a thick, muscular body be so limber. What's this? We're playing a visual novel game. It's a furry visual novel game. Then that's when I notice Amicus looking directly at me from his upside down position, watching me watching him. I quickly look away, blushing, realizing the wolf is just showing off. It's furry time. It's Leah! Why is everyone here today? Oh my gosh, guys. Amicus pushes off his paw, smoothly setting up straight. Well, I suppose we could go back to the palace since I need the partner to do the rest of my training, unless... Amicus glances at me. Kenny, would you like to assist me? I freeze up for a moment, still feeling a bit awkward at being caught staring at his body. I know I can say no, but Alex is here and I don't want to come off as a belligerent pet in front of him. We're sort of pretending after all, even though Alex probably thinks something is off about me. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. It will probably be the other way around. Alright. I get up and stand awkwardly in front of the half-naked wolf, glad that I'm at least in my robes now. Do your people have combat sports? Yeah, actually, there were a few where your people uplifted. Wrestling is something else where they basically just beat each other up. I can't remember the name of it though. Amicus smiles. That sounds similar. No, this is called Pugnu, and it's mostly involved punching, kicking, and grappling. The only rules are no claws, no teeth, and no going for the eyes or groin. Amicus smirks at me. And while sparring, we avoid striking above the neck, so go ahead and throw some punches at me. Amicus grins and hunches down, his paws out. I look over at Alex, who watches us, a bit of disapproving look on his face. Amicus notices. Don't mind Alex, his people are too soft for this sport. Excuse me, but we invented the grapples you use. We just grew out of it. Amicus seems to ignore the cat circling me. Come on, don't hold back. Mostly I just want to train my reflexes. I try to shake off my timidness and move forward, throwing an awkward punch at Amicus's chest. The wolf easily slaps it away. Ah! I hope you can do better than that, Kenny. I blush and put a little more effort into a quick punch at the wolf's side, which he dodges with a jump to the right. I follow him and jab at his stomach, which he blocks with an elbow. Oh, come on, you can hit harder than that. We go on for a while longer until I finally stop huffing. Amicus come up from his crouch. What's wrong? Tired already? I shake my head. Honestly, I just don't like throwing punches at you. Feels kind of wrong. Alex perks up. See? Kenny understands. Amicus rolls his eyes. Oof. You're both soft. There's nothing wrong with a bit of sanctioned combat. In fact, I say it creates more civilized... Oof! I take opportunity to jab Amicus in the side, making the wolf grunt. Amicus turned on me with widened eyes. Oops? Amicus frowned while Alex laughed. I'll show you an oops. Amicus smirks as he ducks in, grabbing my arms and easily pinning them behind my back. Ichirosa! Oh my gosh, everyone's here today. Hey guys. Amicus growls playfully into my ear. Ah, now it's your turn to train. Try and get out of this. He leans heavily against me, using his weight to his advantage. It's clear I have no chance of getting out of the hold, but I tried anyway, struggling and complaining. Oh. Amicus! I jump and so does Amicus, the wolf immediately letting me go. The sudden lack of support almost caused me to face plant before Amicus catches me and set me back on my feet. I turn around and see Kato. Despite the volume and fury in his voice, just moments earlier he appears almost calm. Amicus and I stand there for a moment, breathing heavily, then Amicus bows. Good morning, Kato. I quickly follow suit, bowing low. There's a moment of silence as Kato regards us both. Afternoon, you mean? You're late. My apologies, I lost track of the time at the lake. Your pet did not remind you? Is that not one of his duties? Kato's gaze snaps in my direction. I almost jump. I don't know what to do. So I go back to bowing, wondering if I should apologize. Oh, Leon Light was here a moment ago too. You missed your hubby. I have not taught him our hours yet. Kato, it's my fault. Kato watches us for a moment later, then begins unfastening his robe. Luckily, my appointment with the Predator has been cancelled, so despite your tardiness, we may train. Kato tosses his robe aside. Move, pet. I stand there like an idiot for a moment before realizing he's talking to me. I hurried over to sit next to Alex, and I can tell by his expression on his face that he's a bit worried. I see you already warmed up. Kato glances over at me before turning back to Amicus, getting into a crouch. Amicus stands awkwardly for a moment before doing the same. Yes, did you need to? I did mine while waiting for you half an hour, Amicus. Ah. The two big wolves start circling each other. I want to ask Alice if this is normal, but something tells me I shouldn't speak out of turn in the presence of Kato. Your brother had a very successful speech in the city today. Over 500,000 attended. Amicus seemed thrown off by what Kato said, but then Kato's fist snaps out and smacks Amicus right on the nose. Ugh! The wolf stumbles back, blinking and snorting as he holds his face. I wince. Didn't Amicus just tell me that they didn't go for the face during training? I look at Alex questioningly, but the cat's now looking firmly at the ground between his feet, his ears down. That's double his last speech, Amicus, and it right was your father's earlier day as emperor. Yeah, he's playing dirty. Amicus has recovered at this point, and he's got his paws back up, his teeth bared. He doesn't respond and starts circling Kato again, and this time he attacks first, throwing an elbow at Kato's face. Kato ducks and moves to the side, smacking a fist into Amicus's back, right over the kidney. Ugh! Amicus lets out a pain grunt, bending sideways and stumbling before forcing himself back into position, his teeth showing now. And while you were being a pup at the lake, Cassius was touring the countryside and even that drew thousands. Kato throws a sudden kick at Amicus's thighs and I look away, but I still hear the painful thwack of furry flesh on furry flesh. This isn't training, this is punishment. Stealing a ship and flying across the galaxy will only get you so far, Amicus. You win the people over, not me. Amicus bull rushes the old wolf, grabbing one of Kato's legs by the thighs, lifting it off the ground while he starts throwing vicious punches into the older wolf's face. Kato seemed to become dazed, stumbling on his one foot, raising his paw to protect himself. I silently root for Amicus, wanting to see him put the old man on his ass. But then Kato's paws come around in a vicious slap that turns Amicus' head to the right. He drops Kato's leg, and that's when the old wolf wraps his arm around Amicus' waist, setting his shoulder in the other wolf's stomach before actually lifting him off the ground. I don't know exactly how much Amicus weighs, but it's probably around the same as Kato himself, and somehow the old wolf is able to carry Amicus across the pit in a rush. Alex and I dove out of the way as Kato crushes Amicus into the stairs with a thudding crunch. Ugh. Ugh. I look back and see Amicus folded around Kato's shoulder, making a sound like a deflating tire as his eyes bulge. After a moment, Kato finally pulls back. Amicus curls up and rolls down the few steps to the pit of the amphitheater, making a horrible groaning sound. Kato, meanwhile, straightens out his undergarments before turning to pick up his robe. Good spar, Amicus. I hope you learned something from it. I announced to the public that the trials will begin at the end of this month. Remember that your pet will be involved, so be sure that he's prepared. Kato ties on his rope as he walks away and suddenly turns, forgetting something, adjusting the still wheezing Amicus. Oh, and your sister and her guest arrived today. She requests to see you in the Great Hall as soon as our session ended. And with that, Kato stalks off, his robe billowing in the wind. I rush to Amicus' side. Amicus, are you okay? I know that the wolves are tougher than humans, but if I've been slammed into the stairs like that, there's be a good chance I never get back up. I set a hand on Amicus' back as he hugs at his middle and presses his face against the stone floor. He keeps making a strained grunting sound as I can see a strand of drool connecting from his lip to the ground. Alex stands next to us, nervously fidgeting with his robe. Amicus? Amicus surprised me by roughly pushing my hand away. I just lost my wind. Give me a moment. Amicus turned away from me, then rolls onto his back, his paws above his head. His breathing is still irregular, but at least he's breathing now. Alex clears his throat. Ahem. Amicus, do you need medical attention? Amicus takes a deep breath and then lets it out slowly. No, Alex. Alright, then I should probably take my leave. I don't know when Cassius will return. Alex, looking extremely uncomfortable, bows to both of us. Amicus, thank you for the outing. It was very relaxing. Amica cream? He then quickly makes his exit down the stone path, disappearing through the trees. I stand awkwardly off to the side, waiting for Amicus to recover. Some ambassador friend he is. He opens one eye, looking at me. You know, you can head back to the palace as well. I just want to make sure you're okay. I'm fine. I mean, he hit you really hard. I'm a little worried. Don't be. Go back to my room. Amicus' usually cheerful mood has completely dissipated. Well, if I'm pretending to be your pet, then I guess I'll just pretend to be worried, alright? Amicus just grunts and finally gets to his feet, wincing as he does. He straightens out his undergarment, which had twisted off to the side before walking towards the same path Alex had taken. I quickly catch up, following a few steps behind the wolf. Amicus is hunched over, walking with a light limp. I feel a wave of anger for Kato. He's been nice to me yesterday, but now I realize that that isn't typical for him. I understand the lesson he was teaching Amicus in the amphitheater, but I don't understand why he had to involve violence. Is this how the wolves normally treat each other? Fake civility with bursts of savage aggression? Was Kato? Was what Kato did normal? What do you mean? I mean, does he usually just beat you like that? Amicus sighs deeply. Not usually, no. Hey, Bowser. Seemed a bit much. Can we not speak of this? I'm not in the mood. I go quiet and see Amicus' ear fall flat for a bit before coming back up. We walk the rest of the way to the palace in silence. I'm sure to stay a few steps behind Amicus, wanting to give him space. I get the feeling that while he's definitely upset about what happened, he's mostly just embarrassed that I saw it. We finally reach the main entrance of the palace, and just as we turn into the Great Hall... Amicus! A high sing-song voice echoes around the marble wall as a slight wolfish figure quickly approaches us. The only female character we'll ever see in this game. A wolf who I can imagine as Virginia walks up to Amicus. She places both paws on the shoulders and leans in, pressing the side of her face to his. Hi, Virginia. Virginia pulls back, rolling her eyes. Amicus, I took your place on the trip around the moon for a full week, and your only response is, hi? That's such a basic name as well. Sorry, I'm not feeling all that well. Oh, was Kato too rough with you during training? Shall I have a word with him? No, I'm just sore. You could use a shower too. You smell dreadful. We were swimming in the lake. Never mind. I should be getting back to my room. Enough with the dour mood, Amicus. Not until we introduce our guests to each other. Welcome back, Manny. Virginia looks right at me over Amicus' shoulder. Amicus sighs, then reaches out his paw to me. I walk over to him, letting the wolf place his paw on my shoulder. This is Kenny. He's an abandoned child. Oh, fascinating. I thought Cass was pulling my tail in his letter. Virginia stretches out a paw. I stand there awkwardly, unsure what to do, so I reach out and take her paw in my hand. Then after another pause, I lean down and brush my lips on her fur, like I've seen people do in the movies. Heh, interesting. It seems they have some sort of etiquette. I step back, keeping my head down. A bit, yes. Now, where's the KimmyKin? Manners, Amicus. He's examining the murals. She turns to her right, raising her voice a bit. Neferu, could you come over and meet my brother, please? There's a moment of silence and soft footstep. So this guy's kind of like the fan favorite, by the way. A canine appears around the corner, his fur matched darker than the wolf's, almost pitch black. He's covered in gold highlights, and immediately I'm struck by how he looks. Not just because his presence is impressive, it definitely is, but mostly because he reminds me of something on Earth. Not just something, but an entire thing, a culture. As I stare, I realize that he's not looking at Amicus, but at me. I quickly look down again, not wanting to draw attention to myself. Neferu, this is my brother, Amicus. Neferu bows his head slightly in Amicus' direction. Hello, thank you for letting me take up residence in your palace. It is indeed beautiful. It's hard to describe, but I immediately know that Neferu is speaking a different language than the wolves. It's a different feel in my brain, like a different dialect. Certainly, you'll have to excuse my appearance. I was just out combat training. Oh, I see. It must have been a rough session by the looks of it. Neferu gives Amicus a cool smile, and Amicus can only manage to grunt in response, self-consciously running a paw over his head fur. That's when Neferu turns his cool blue gaze on me. Hi, Super. And who might you be? I open my mouth to answer, then catch myself and quickly look back down. This is Kenny, my pet. He's an abandoned child. Amicus says it quickly, putting his paws on my shoulder again while gently pulling me in the direction of his room. It was a wonderful meeting you, but now I have to be off to my shower. Neferu offers his paws to me. I pause again, but Amicus just stares at Neferu, so I take it and do the same as I did with Virginia. Neferu lets out a soft chuckle as I let go of his paw. Ooh, what a fascinating creature. Do you speak? I make sure to give a long pause then. Little. I see. Neferu keeps his eyes fixed on me, and then I have to wonder why the hell he's taking such an interest. Ahem. Amicus draws me close to his side with a paw before starting to walk in the direction of the hall. If you'll excuse us, I need my pet's assistance in the showers. Please, pleasure meeting you. Virginia, who had been silent throughout, smiles. Don't worry, Neferu. We just caught my brother in a bad mood. Usually he's much more friendly. I can hear you, Virginia. I'm still here. So you are. Yet you said you had to be off. We shall speak more in the depth in the evening. Perhaps when you are stopped soaking. Amicus grunts non-committedly and pulls me along towards his bedroom. As we arrive at Amicus' room, there's a cart of flatbread, vegetables, and a bowl of sauce sitting outside the door. I've come to realize that there are two main meals in the day, breakfast and dinner, with sort of a midday snack in between. Amicus grabs the cart and shoves it into the room towards the sofa, almost rattling the contents to the floor. Then without a word, he heads straight to the shower, leaving me to sit on the couch while I frown at the door. At first I think about calling him out on his bad mood when he comes back out, maybe go on about how I didn't ask to be here and him being an ass only makes it worse. But then I start to realize that maybe I wouldn't be so happy myself if I got my ass kicked in front of my friends. I spend the next 15 minutes or so spreading that orange colored sauce on the flatbread before sprinkling the vegetables on top and rolling it on the wrap. It's good, and the sauce is one of the first spicy things that I've experienced on this moon. Then Amicus comes back out, looking particularly fluffy. I'm about to ask if he wants to get brushed, but he just falls back into his bed with a groan. Wait. I think should be okay. Does he show his dick? You alright? Okay. It's okay. Safe. Never better. A few of the chopped peppers falls out of my wrap onto the sofa. I don't know, because sometimes after he takes a shower, he shows his dick. Ah, hi, Sinahi. Great timing. Sinahi every time. Yeah, Sinahi always happen to come at the best time. I'm not sure why. But I hope you're doing good. Disregard what you heard. It's nothing. It's nothing. Penis, vagina, mom sound, something like that. It's not a KennyDayo stream without one of those. Except for vaginas, they're kind of gross. A few of the chopped peppers fall out of the wrap onto the sofa, and I quickly picked them up and set them on the car. This is actually really good. I was starting to worry that you guys didn't have any food with actual flavors here. You know, the country where you guys uplifted, Italy, is known for its food. Oh yeah, they uplifted, like, apparently people from Adastra went to Earth before the whole like the Roman Emperorship. Like, they brought that culture there. It's like kind of like what the story is, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then like Neferu, so he's kind of like Egyptian. So they even talk about how like he brought, like, maybe in the past, like his race brought like the Egyptian culture to Earth as well, which I thought was kind of an interesting kind of backstory, or how interesting how they connected like the real world and stuff. You're getting a Taco Bell commercial now from ads? There's a Taco Bell commercial? Let's go! I love Taco Bell. Actually, before you took me, I had this trip planned to go to Naples, which is a few hours outside of Rome, just to try the pizza. Do you have pizza here? Amicus gazes at me with a frown. I wonder if he understands a single thing I said. No. Oh, well, it's sort of like this. If I kept it flat and we baked it. Anyways, you want some? I hold up my wrap with a smile. Amicus glares. I just had my guts squashed flatter than the flatbread and you were assuming I still have an appetite? I quickly lowered it. Oh yeah, sorry. Amicus goes on staring at the ceiling while I nib on the food, though I'm not really all that hungry anymore. Then Amicus sighs deeply, covering his face with his paws. I'm sorry, I've been thinking a lot is all. About? Amicus just shakes his head, continuing to rub his brow. Well, how sore I am, for one. I look over at the wolf and remember what he said last night about the massage. I think about it for a moment. Amicus has been trying to make me as comfortable as possible throughout the few days I've been here, minus the sofa. I kind of feel like I owe it to him. You wanna massage? I see Amicus freeze up, his face still covered with his paws until he finally lowers them, his expression almost comical. What? I feel myself turning red. I asked if you want a massage. Oh, I thought you didn't want to. Well, I never really gave you an answer, did I? Amicus narrows his eyes. I don't want to force you into something you don't want to do. Well, I'm offering, but if you don't want it... I start to sit back down. Amicus' ears fall flat. No, please do. I try to hide my smile as I get back up and approach the bed. Amicus just sort of watched me, half sitting up. Once I get to the edge of the bed, I pause. So what do I do? Oh, Amicus rolls over onto his front. The front first? Ooh, that'd be too embarrassing for me. Well, honestly, I don't really know how it's supposed to be done, but you could start with some light rubbing. Cautiously, I get up onto the bed on my knees, trying not to get tangled up in my robes as I scoot closer. Tenderly, I reach out and touch the wolf's back. Amicus inhales gently, his back rising against my fingers. Then slowly I start to massage, starting on his thick neck, before slowly rubbing my way down. I don't know the first thing about massaging, so I just do what feels natural, and Amicus seems to like it. When I reach his mid-back, he grunts. A little more gentle there, got scraped on the stairs. I pause and tease through the fur a bit and find a small fresh scab right on Amicus' spine. I pet the fur back down before moving past it, working my thumbs into the muscles on either side of the wolf's spine. Kato's an asshole. Amicus let out a choked cough of surprise. Kenny, don't say that, he's the acting emperor. Well, he is. If you must say it, at least keep your voice down. I swear, Cassius sometimes has his ear pressed onto my door. Ah. Amicus moans as I start on his neck again and press harder than I had last time, really sinking into the muscle. The wolf's body melts into the bed and I grin with satisfaction as I keep up the pressure down the rest of his back. It would be easier if I were straddling him, but I don't know how I feel about doing that just yet. Amicus is quite quiet for a few minutes while I work, then he sighs. He was right though, I still act like a I still act like a pup, I need to be more serious. I frown. What do you mean? Kato had every right to beat me. I haven't been acting very much like an emperor lately. I shake my head. First of all, no one should be beaten. Second, Cassius acts like a child or pup. I mean, you might sometimes act like a little immature, but he's a brat. You're fine if he's the one you're competing with. Besides, you're a lot fun to be around. If I were a wolf, I would think it's pretty cool to have an emperor as nice and fun as you are. Oh, really? Then I suppose things are different here. I forgot myself at the lake today when Kato caught me teasing you. Amicus presses his face into the pillow, cringing. Can you not have fun as the prospective emperor? No, really, Cassius hasn't been out in the lake for years. Sometimes I think something's wrong with me, that I still enjoy such things. I think trying to decide whether my opinion's worth anything on this alien moon. Well, I don't think so. People our age on Earth do way dumber stuff to have fun, and it's considered normal. Even when you get older, you're expected to do things you enjoy. Otherwise, what's the point of life? We're only here for a moment before we die, and that's it. I can't help but feel that my argument's a bit amateurish. Amicus doesn't seem convinced either. Well, first of all, the point of my life is to lead my people to a better future. Secondly, we become one with the parents when we die. I frown. Become one? What, do they absorb your soul or something? I stiffen my chuckle when I see Amicus is still very serious. No, well, I don't know, but our consciousness join theirs and we go on to spread throughout the universe together. Huh? Is there proof of this? Did they say that's what happens? Of course. I think I'll question him further, but right now, I'm not really in the mood to debate anything religious with this wolf. His mind seems to be on the having fun issue anyway. Well, I would say that Roman emperors on Earth had a lot of fun. I laugh. There was an emperor named Elagabalus that didn't really give a shit about what the people thought of him. He had all the fun and sex he wanted. Oh. Amicus sounded amused. Then I wince, remember that no one really liked Elagabalus, and he was killed along with his male lover. Then his beheaded body was dragged through the streets of Rome. Ooh. Well, I think balance is a good thing to have in life. Be serious when you need to be, have fun when you can. Amicus just grunts again and I go rubbing for a while longer. Oh, so while I was at my studies, I had time in the library to myself. I found this primate subspecies in the general vicinity of your star. They were part of the failed uplift and look generally similar to you. A lot hairier, but I don't think anyone would notice. The name they have for themselves is impronounceable by us, but we named them the Simians, so if anyone asks what you are, tell them that. Oh, okay. I repeat the word in my head, trying to memorize it. Also, I would recommend avoiding Akemian if I didn't like the looks of him. Why not? I don't know, but his demeanor was rather rude. I've heard they are an arrogant people, but to see it in person. I almost laughed at the hypocrisy of the statement. I pointed out if Amicus wasn't being so grumpy right now. And the way he looked at you didn't sit well with me. Just be sure you watch out for him. I didn't really see much of a difference between the Pharaoh and the wolves aside from appearance, but Amicus seemed genuinely concerned. Alright. Amicus grunts in response, and I go on rubbing for a little while longer. Then Amicus rolls over. I pause. Amicus suddenly opens eyes as if realizing what he's doing. Oh, do I do your front too? Well, often after I get a massage, my drone rubs me. It helps me fall asleep for my afternoon naps. Rubs you where? Amicus' ear turns bright red. My belly. I laugh. Don't laugh, you're the one who wants to know. I hesitate and then almost automatically, my hand reaches out and starts to rub. Amicus tenses at first and starts to relax, the blush in his ears receding. You're such a canine. I am a canine. The fur, fluffy and disheveled from the shower, smooths down against the wolf's thick stomach, his belly rising and falling against my hand. In his relaxed state, his stomach is soft under the fur, and I press down a bit more firmly to really rub at it. Amicus grunts and winces a bit. Too hard? Oh lord. It's okay, nothing's showing. Just sore, but keep going, it feels good. As I continue to rub, his eyes close and his muscles part slightly. So, the trial starts soon, at the end of this month, I guess. Yes. And I'm involved in it somehow? Want to talk about it later? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm getting a little bit nervous. But Amicus doesn't seem to worry, and that puts me at ease, at least a little bit. That's when I noticed a particular bulge in Amicus' undergarment, the one I noticed when I brushed him yesterday. I'm not surprised this time though. If brushing had done it to him, rubbing definitely would too. So I ignore it, and so does Amicus, or maybe he's just asleep. I realized then just how much I've accepted my life here, rubbing this prospective emperor's wolf belly, even though I know it's making him hard. But I also realized that I don't really mind it. It's also been a few days, but there's something about this wolf. I don't know. I just like him. Amicus starts to snore, so I slowly stop rubbing, watching his chest rise and fall with his steady breaths. I think about going back over to the sofa, but instead I just rolled over to Amicus' left, curling up on my side in a soft pillow. With the relaxing sound of Amicus' gentle snores behind me, I drift off into a light sleep. And no actions. Okay, but I want to go pee real quick, so I'll BRB. Over the next week or so, I start to get used to my new life. I find that the days are easy to adjust to, and like Alex said, 19 hours in a day isn't all that bad. Though the sleeping period is a bit shorter than I'm used to, it's been easier now that I sleep on Amicus' bed. After I've fallen asleep next to him, we decided there was enough room. The wolf set up one of his many long pillows down between us as a courtesy to me, even if he did sometimes ends up rolling over onto my end. He's been busy these past few days, and I think it's because of what happened between him and Kato. He doesn't stress out any more outings and instead wakes up early to go meditation before leaving for the city and do various campaigning stuff. Amicus doesn't explain exactly what that involves, and he doesn't bring me along. I asked why, considering I thought my main job was to accompany him to these things, but he just says he's not doing the stuff that involves me quite yet. Instead, my introduction to the people at Adastra is going to be during the first trial. He says that the reveal will be a lot more impressive that way, and that rumors are already spreading about his new pet. That another thing, my involvement in the trial. Apparently, I'm to be his partner in the dance portion, something I have no clue how to do. I've been getting more and more worried about it, telling Amicus he actually needs to show me what I'm going to be doing, but he brushes me off, telling me it's not a big deal. Apparently, the dancing is rather easy, and the main objective is just to show me off. Since everyone already knows what Alex is, I should be rather impressive to the officials that will be judging us. Amicus is confident that we'll win that portion of the contest easily. Still, he promised me at least a few sessions of practice before the actual day of the competition. I realize now that that's only 3 days away, and despite Amicus's constant reassurance, I can feel the stress building. I can only trust him that the dance is actually easy and simply an opportunity to show me off. Meanwhile, half of the days tend to be empty of things to do. I'm left on my own to either hang around Amicus's room, have conversations with Calm about Adastra and his culture, or just try and busy myself with menial work. Sometimes I hang out with Alex, which I enjoy, but lately I wonder if the idea that we're technically going to be competing against each other is causing a bit of a drift between us. Still, I get a lot of time with him since Cassius is out just as much as Amicus, if not more. We go out into the garden a few times, and other times we watch Adastra TV together, sometimes even catching Amicus or Cassius giving speech to the seemingly endless crowds of wolves. The broadcasters seem to like tallying up numbers, and it's clear that Cassius has always had an edge. Still, from what I've gathered, Amicus has had a bit of a surge and managed to at least do better than half Cassius's numbers. It's still a little worrying though, but from what I can tell, popularity doesn't factor into the trials. When I'm not with Alex, I try to avoid running into any of the others, which is actually pretty easy. Kato is almost absent from the palace, doing his own official business as acting emperor. Virginia hasn't bothered to talk to me after our first interaction, probably deeming me incapable of any sort of conversation. Nefaru, on the other hand, is the only person I have difficulty avoiding. Unlike the others, he greets me when he sees me and occasionally sticks out his paw so that I have to kiss it. The only difference now is that after I do it, he does the same to me. I think I gave him a false impression that it's some sort of normal greeting from my people. He seems to enjoy it quite a bit, but only tries it when Amicus isn't around. As for Cassius, I don't see him for the entire week until today. I'm in the dining room watching the screens and zoning out. The wolves are pretty talented at making basically all of their films incredibly boring. It's probably something to do with the low-winded monologues and theatrical acting. Ats is gone today, doing some type of ambassador work in the city, while Amicus is out with Kato, training, though he's supposed to be back in the next hour to give me the dance practice he's promised. I'm nodding off and thinking about heading back to Amicus' room to take a quick nap when Cassius suddenly comes in. He stalks in with that particular stiff gait that he has, along with his usual sour expression. Even though it's been a while since I've seen him, I haven't forgotten that look of his. I jump and quickly sit up straight, looking at the ground. There's only a moment of silence before his reedy voice breaks in. "Pet, come with me!" And with that, he turns and stalks right back out of the room. I sit there stunned for a moment. First of all, Amicus told Cassius never to give me commands. Does that mean that I shouldn't listen to him? I know immediately that that wouldn't be a very good idea, and then jump off my bed to hurry out into the hall. The important thing is that Amicus isn't here right now, and I know that Cassius is not someone I want to piss off. I still remember how quickly he just said that he hit me as punishment. I'm just in time to see what the white tail disappear around the corner and jog after him, noting just how confident he is that I follow him without question. I don't think he's even looked back once. I realize that we're heading out into the garden, towards the same table and benches that Alex and I have eaten our lunches at a few times. That's when I see Virginia and Nefaru sitting down already, cups and plates already on the table. I realized I realized then what it is Cassius summoned me for, and I relaxed a bit. After serving breakfast so many times, I know exactly what he's expected of me. When Virginia spots us, she waves at Cassius, but he only grumbles under his breath. Why is he here? I see the wolf tails lash around in irritation before it settles as we get closer to the pair. Good morning, Virginia. And Neferu. Cassius' voice takes on a dismissive tone as he says that jackal's name, barely even nodding his head at him. Ahotep would be with you, Cassius. How are you this day? Cassius' tail lashes again, but only once. Wonderful. Virginia, you didn't tell me I'd be having a guest. Virginia raises the brow. I'm sorry, did you need a warning of some kind, Cassius? Cassius sits, leaning back in the chair as he keeps his gaze on Virginia. I simply like to be prepared. There's a moment of silence and Neferu, still smiling, looks back and forth between the brother and sister. I am sorry. Am I causing an inconvenience? No, Neferu. Cassius is simply being his usual gloomy self. Cassius' paws, which are clasped on the table, tightens their grip on each other. Virginia doesn't seem to notice though, and instead looks up at me. And you brought Kenny. Cassius doesn't even look at me. I'm borrowing him. My pet is doing diplomatic work in the city. Virginia rolls her eyes. Really, Cassius, you can't manage to serve yourself even once? If I am to be the emperor, I need to act like one, and please leave questioning me for another time. I don't want to be rude to our guest. Cassius smiles at Neferu, though it looked forced. Another moment of tense silence. I take it as an opportunity to do my work. Me serve now? I almost snicker at my own caveman speech. Yes, pet. I go about serving him, picking up slices of baked and seasoned bread off the platter before setting them on a smaller plate. I set this in front of Cassius. Then I pour some tea out of the heated pot into Cassius' cup before finally stepping back, hands clasped together. Luckily, Cassius and Virginia act like I'm not there, carrying on their own conversation. Only Neferu seems to be constantly aware of my presence, occasionally glancing at me. Are you enjoying your stay here, Neferu? Neferu snaps his gaze from me to Cassius. Oh yes, very much so. You've all been so hospitable to me. I thank you. Cassius waves his paw. It's the woven way, Neferu. No thanks are needed. Another moment of silence stretch before Virginia reaches out for a plate. Can I get you some pananim, Neferu? But Neferu suddenly stands up. Actually, I should be on my way. I can tell that you intended to speak with your sister alone, Cassius. Good day, and good day to you, Kenny. I jump, but quickly duck my head in response. Neferu then wanders off into the garden, paws behind his back as he disappears behind the bushes and flowers. Cassius looks after him, his ears lower, the inside slightly red. He's rather blunt, isn't he? Virginia doesn't respond, and Cassius looks over to see that she's glaring at him. What? He is our guest, Cassius. Start treating him like one. What? Humph. Cassius sighs and looks away, pouting. Virginia takes a sip of her tea before leaning back in her chair, letting the silence drag on a bit before finally speaking. What is it, Cassius? What is what? Why are you sulking more than the usual? Cassius sighed. I'm very busy, Virginia, and I've freed up this portion of my day to have a good conversation. I've barely spoken to you since you returned, and I wanted to ask you about your trip. Cassius takes a brisk sip from his cup. It's difficult to speak intimately when others are around, especially those of different species. Cassius, if you wanted to speak alone, you only had to ask. I was simply worried that Neferu is growing bored of the palace, so I invited him along. Virginia grins. And you don't have to play emperor around me, I'm your sister. Lean back and relax a little bit. Cassius sighs again, but doesn't lean back. I must play the role I'm intended to fit, even when the situation does not call for it. You think father was always like that? I don't know. He did not speak to me much. Well, he wasn't. You can relax around me, Cassius. Cassius sighs and eats one of his crackers, leaning back into his chair very slightly. So how was Lux? Oh, you know, riots and crimes and complaints about a lack of funding. Well, there is a lack of funding. There's a lack of funds, certainly, but not from us. You know the officials are corrupt and take most of it. That isn't the people's fault. No, but they should choose their politicians more carefully. They're electing officials based on how outrageous they can be. How does that result in a sound government? The people are frustrated and the sentiment is spreading throughout the empire. I've been telling you this for years. Certainly, we all know this. The question is how to fix it. By getting rid of the triumvirates the people elect. If we rule directly, the empires will become as sound as the palace we govern them from. And you expect to do that easily? I expect it to be very, very difficult, and it's something I tend to do very, very carefully. The people need direction, and electing chaotic triumvirates is their cry for help. Virginia doesn't say anything, instead taking a very dainty sip of tea from her cup. Cassius clears his throat and sits up straight again. Anyways, why did you decide to bring the KimmyKin back with you? You never explained the killer in your letters. But I did. His accumulation and locks were rather poor. Bringing him here and acquainting him with the imperial family seemed like the natural decisions to me. You know, he's the pharaoh's second son. Yes, but why was he in Lux and why didn't I know about it? Virginia shrugs. You can't expect to know every diplomatic visit that there is. Anyway, he was touring the siblings and was in Lux when the depletion happened. My question is, why wouldn't the pharaoh send a ship immediately to retrieve his own son? Alex makes sense, being your typical diplomat, but the son of a pharaoh? He chose to stay. Cassius snorts. And why would he do that? Virginia stares at Cassius for a moment, a frown on her face. Cassius, you know the reason as well as I do. Despite the absolute chaotic bankrupt, parentless mess our empire's in, the KimmyKins are willing to ally with us. He's trying to help establish that. They are taking advantage of us when we are at our weakest, Virginia. You know how I feel about this and that I have no plans for an alliance. I'm planning for all scenarios, Cassius. As of now, you aren't guaranteed the emperorship. Cassius doesn't say anything, staring at his empty plate. Slowly, I walk up to the table and refill the plate. Neither of the wolves looks at me. We should be grateful the KimmyKins even want to speak to us. None of the other siblings want to be associated with a race that seems to have been abandoned. We don't know that yet. Well, they aren't speaking to us, are they? And they left us starbound. If this is permanent, we may never be able to travel beyond the star system again. That catches my attention. Didn't Amicus tell me that when he becomes emperor, he's able to take me back? They're acting like they won't have the stretch drive forever. Cassius laughs. Once we have a new emperor, they will give us guidance again. They stopped immediately after father's death. What other explanation could there be? They didn't after grandfather's death. Cassius waved his paw in the air. Because father was in line for the throne without any challenge. The emperorship has not been in limbo like this in the living memories. They are simply waiting for the empire to have their firm leadership again before re-establishing contact. Cassius snatches a cracker off the plate and just refilled. It's happened before, even if it was before Drusus, but even if we were not able to, I have no doubt that I can still lead this empire to prosperity. And how would we do that without the stretch? We'd not be able to communicate with our children anymore. If the KimmyKins learn to stretch, then so can we. As for our children, abandon them. Then they've only been a burden anyway. Cassius glanced at me and I quickly looked down at the ground. Virginia sighs loudly. Sometimes I think you say frightens me, Cassius. Well, you know it would be less so if you were on my side, Virginia. I'm on no one's side, Cassius. It's my duty to serve the Emperor, no matter who that might be. You're on Amicus' side, it's clear as Vita. Preference does not matter in the end. I don't like Kato, yet I serve him. Cassius' ear flattening, he looks around. Lower your voice when you say such thing, Virginia. And are you saying you dislike me like you do to Kato? Well, of course not. But like I said, your ideas are extreme. Radical ideas are needed for times like these. It's how I've gotten so far with the people. Well, just remember that you and Amicus are both my brothers, and I love you equally. Just be civil when the decision is made. Cassius! We all jump as Amicus' voice seemed to rattle the ivy on the pillar. Cassius settles back in his seat, rolling his eyes. What, Amicus? What in the hell are you doing with my pet? Com says you have him. He wanted to serve me. How could I deny him? Do not lie to me, Cassius. I told you never talk to him. Are you going to yell at me or tell me where you are so I can send him back? Where are you? I'm going to come out there. Cassius does look a little worried then. Com, where is Amicus? The main hall, Cassius. I'm coming out. Pet, go back inside and do not tell him where we are. Cassius shoos me away while Virginia just chuckles behind the paw. Ah. I make my way back inside, though Amicus meets me right at the entrance. He glares. Oh, thanks for the hydrate. All this reading. My throat's so dry. But thank you. Okay, watching. What the hell does he think he's doing? What did he make you do? Amicus has a paw on my shoulder looking me over. Not much. I just served him while he talked to Virginia. Unbelievable. Amicus makes as if to walk out into the gardens. Where are you going? Going to give Cass a piece of my mind. I especially told him not to. I set a hand on his arm, stopping him. Hey, it's fine. Is it? Because last I remember, he threatened to hit you. He didn't touch me at all. He ignored me the whole time. Amicus looked out into the garden, still clearly wanting to go out there. Listen, I just want to get this dance practice done. I've been worried about it all week. Amicus pauses and sighs, turning back to walk into the palace. Fine, but when I let Cassius get away with things like this, he tends to push it even further the next time. We walk in silence for a bit, our footsteps echoing like they always do in the marble halls. Are you alright? I'm fine. Why? Well, you seem a little grumpy. It was just a long day in the city. Unlike Cassius, speeches don't come naturally to me. Sometimes I just need to get used to it. I walk along the wolf, feeling his furry arm brushed up against mine. So, when do I get to go to the city? The wolf tilts his muzzle down at me in surprise. Oh, you want to go? Well, yeah. Didn't you say I could? It's kind of getting boring here. Well, I did say once the first trial is done, you'll be introduced to the public by then, so everyone will know who you are when we go. Can I plan on that then? Of course, I'm just surprised that you want to see the city so badly. Well, looking at it from the balcony all the time has me curious. Well, visually it's not all that impressive. There are cities out there with larger structures and attraction. Adastra is mostly a city for imperial officers and their families. Still, we could find some entertainment, I'm sure. As long as it isn't like the film I've seen on your TV. Well, it would be live entertainment, but it would be somewhat similar. Actually, if you don't like that, then you may not like the dance I'm about to show you. I realized then that we were walking in a new direction in the palace, down the hall I haven't been through since Alex gave me the palace tour. Where are we going? The throne room should be empty right now. It's where we'll be performing. I feel myself getting a little nervous as we approach a large set of double doors. Amicus presses his paw to the black panel, and they slide open. Inside, I'm greeted by the largest room in the palace that I've seen yet. I look up to the glistening walls, craning my neck to see the ceiling's arc dozens of meters above us. Afternoon light filters throughout the windows, lighting up the place in a warm orange glow. Wow. You like it? Yeah. I look at the throne, framed by the pillars and crystal that appears to be levitating. The crystal looks similar to the other structures in the palace that are used mainly for the light source. It's just that these ones are a lot bigger. Amicus walks into the center of the room, our footsteps sounding much more cavernous here. We actually don't use it very often. It's more of for tradition. So you won't sit on the throne all day yelling at people? Sadly, no. I can only remember a handful of times that father sat in it. I look around a bit, spinning in a slow circle. When I see Amicus again, he's quiet. His arms are folded as he stares at the throne. The look on his face tells me that he's in deep in thought. I clear my throat. So did you want to show me the dance? Oh, right. Amicus walks towards me until he's standing just a few feet away. He sighs, then frowns, his ears down. What? I wait, but he doesn't say anything. What? I say a little more loudly, feeling nervous. Well, seriously, you're stressing me out. Alright, listen. The role you'll be playing might seem a bit strange to you. Role? What do you mean by that? Amicus takes a deep breath, only now realizing what our practice session is going to involve. The dance we'll be doing is titled Mira, and it will involve things that you might find objectionable. Objectionable? Alright, let me try to explain this correctly. Basically, we'll be playing the roles of Drusus and Mira, an emperor and his lover. Wait, so this is like a play or a musical? I'm playing a character? Well, of course, it's a dance. Well, I guess, but you never told me that I was to be acting. Isn't acting part of dancing? What's the point of dance if you're not telling a story? I cover my face with my hands, rubbing it in frustration. Listen, quit saying these things to me like I should just know it. We're from a different world. Of course things aren't the same on Earth. Oh yes, you're right. I'm sorry. You're so much like a wolf that I forget. It's fine, but what is it that I find objectionable? I remember his description of the dance included the word lover. Wait, what sort of things am I going to have to do with you? The look on Amicus' face worries me. I feel myself getting angry, realizing now why Amicus had put this off for so long. I glare at him. Nothing too explicit, but there's caressing and a kiss at the end. Oh my god. I let my head drop, closing my eyes. I'm sorry, I don't make up the dances or the rules, it's simply tradition. I let the silence drag out, letting Amicus squirm. But weirdly enough, I'm not as angry as I thought I'd be. Knowing Amicus for 2 weeks I've been here, I guess I kind of just expected from him. Still, he's been nothing but respectful to me over the past few weeks, and if it means I can go home... Is that it? You caress me a little and kiss me at the end? For the most part, yes, and you're playing the role of a female, so you must dress a certain way. Are you kidding me? I feel my face flush red, something that Amicus has told me is kind of unnerving to see for someone covered in fur. Why do I have to do it then? Go get a female dancer or something. A professional would do this way better than me. That's not the point of the trial. Me teaching is part of it, and it's simply the role of the pet to do so. You should have told me this last week, Amicus. Amicus doesn't seem to have an answer for that besides a mumbled sorry. We stand there in awkward silence for a little while longer before Amicus squared his shoulder. Listen, I will not force you to do anything you don't want to. That I promise. But doing this dance convincingly is needed for us to win. I sigh loudly. Who's even judging this? Cato and the Triumvirates from the 5 of the other major cities. Triumvirates? Group of the 3 that governs the city. So why do you even have to know music or dance to become an emperor anyway? Well, the more well-rounded the wolf, the better he is for the emperorship. An emperor that can fight just as well as he can dance shows good character. Alright, fine. Just show me the dance. Amicus lets out one of those relieved sighs that he seems to have reserved just for me. Thank you. Again, I'm sorry. I was just so busy with official business and everything else, I didn't know how to approach you about this. Well, next time just tell me. I'm honestly more annoyed that you waited for so long. Isn't the trial in like a few days? 3 days. Great. But it's a simple dance. You'll be able to learn in a few hours, then we could practice tomorrow too. Alright. I look around. So do we have music or something? No. We don't need music, do we? I mean, I guess not. On Earth, we usually dance to music without having to tell a story. Oh, really? So you just dance for no reason? Kind of. We usually dance to have fun. So why do you need music? I think. It's such a basic thing, but I never had to explain it to anyone before, so I found myself trying to figure out the right way to go about it. Well, we need a beat or rhythm to a dance too. I mean, not always, but usually we move to an even spaced beat. Amicus absorbs that for a second and chuckles. What? It's such a pre-made thing to do, to bang sticks and rocks together. You love your rhythms, it sounds so interesting. I frowned immediately, picking up on the condescension. You mean primitive? No, just different. I sigh, letting it go for now. At least he's trying, I guess. Anyways, we're going to have an orator narrate the story for us. It's a combination of speaking and singing. I'll do that for now, though, well, not the singing, I'll just speak. I stand there waiting, and Amicus cough awkwardly. Ahem. Anyway. Amicus reaches out a paw and I take it after a short pause. Slowly he draws me closer to himself, to the point I could smell the lavender and floral mouthwash on his breath. I'm going to lead you through the movement first while narrating, then we'll start from the beginning again, alright? I nod in agreement, and with that, Amicus starts to narrate the story. 10,000 years ago, our empire was small, shriveled, and parentless. We abandoned them and we were left to drift through the galaxy alone. Amicus turns away from him to face the throne, his paws on my shoulder. Then Drusus, our dear emperor, came along and made a proposition. Amicus stepped forward lightly on his toes, gesturing broadly with his paws. Let us reconnect with our parents, and through them the rest of the universe. But it was not so easy. The sibling, long tired of woven hubris, were reluctant to know them again. I stand there awkwardly, watching Amicus move around me in a sort of interpretive dance, mostly involving prancing and big gestures with his paws. That was until he met Mira, a Hindu sibling. Amicus turns to me, stretching out a paw again, this time flat, like he's telling me to stop. Alright, so just reach out the same way and press your paws to mine. I do as he asks, watching as his massive paw almost seems to envelop mine. He slowly pushes my hand upwards, drawing me closer as he does. And before they could help it, they've fallen in love. The story goes on for a while, Amicus teaching me the steps and hand movement as it does. The process is slow and tedious, but Amicus is patient with me and tells me that it's not the choreography that's necessarily important, but rather the feelings and passion we put into the movements. The story describes Mira and Drusus' relationship, evolving from one of the officials' diplomatic business to true love. But it doesn't last long because Mira becomes sick from an unspecified illness and is about to die. The parents offer Drusus two options: save Mira or save his empire, and promises people prosperity for the next 10,000 years. Drusus wants to choose Mira, even if it means damning his empire for millennia. At this point in the story, Amicus draws me to his chest, my back pressed to his front as he holds me close, his voice rumbling in his chest. Then the story takes a sudden turn. Mira denies Drusus his own decision, instead taking her own life so that his empire might survive. Here I'm supposed to put the back of my hand to my head, like I'm an old-timely woman in a corset passing out. Amicus carefully lowers me to the ground, laying me flat on my back. And so it was, another sibling saved our empire. Drusus was forced into his one remaining choice, which was no longer a choice. Amicus stands slowly, raising a paw to the sky, pointing. To the stars, he said. We are now Adastra. Amicus holds the pose for a moment and looks down at me. Is that it? Yes. I sit up and Amicus reaches down to help me to my feet. Wasn't so bad, was it? Well, no, not really. As long as it doesn't matter if I don't do all the steps right. No, you just need to have a general idea of it. Remember, it's the feeling you need to get right, the tragedy of it all. So, is that story true? Seems like a weird choice to give someone, and he made really a stupid decision. He basically killed Mira. Amicus shrugs. It's mostly just a dramatic story, but Drusus was a real person, and so was Mira. She did take her own life, but we don't really know why, or the extent of their relationship. And what about the kiss? You said the dance would involve that? Thought we should leave that for the actual performance. I assume you don't want me kissing you over and over? I do. Yeah, that's probably for the best. Anyways, let's do it for a few more times and get you into the feel of it before we focus on the acting portion tomorrow. Or do we? I won't kiss and tell. For the next few hours, we go through the steps over and over. By the end, we're both kind of sweaty, being so close to each other while Vita shines in on us. Alright, why don't we take a break? Sure. Would you like to go to the communal bath? Ah! Okay. This part. Where everyone takes a bath together. For the first time, I can really smell the musk coming off of Amicus. It's not bad, but mixed with the lavender smell, it's a bit strange. Well, more to have a hot soak to ease the tension in the muscles. Don't worry, you can keep your underwear on if you prefer. Oh, okay. Great. Amicus leads the way to the throne room and back into the marble halls. The cooler air hits my sweaty skin and I realize that I probably don't smell so great either. The perfumes the wolves use isn't all that strong. I adjust my robes, not liking the way the fabric sticks to my skin. Actually, all this dancing has me wishing I had jeans back. The dance position had me feeling like it was hitching up and exposing my underwear. Can I wear pants when we do the dance? Pants? Why? I don't know, I guess it's just easier to move around in them. Well, you'll be wearing a Hindu costume, which is also rather billowy. Sorry. Billowy. Why do you wear pants anyways? No one else does. Oh, well, they've been coming into fashion over the last few years. I thought wearing a pair would endear the people to me. You want them to think you're hip? Well, I want them to believe that I'm forward-thinking. Everyone else in the palace has the aura of traditionalism, which is not something I'm aiming for. Amicus adjusts his pants near the crotch. I've grown to prefer them over the robes, but in a situation that involves a lot of sweatings, it can grow a bit uncomfortable under the leather. Amicus stops by a door I noticed before, much smaller than an entrance to the throne room. He presses his paw to another black panel, the door sliding open. I'm immediately hit by a wall of humid warmth, steam wafting out through the open door. I follow the wolf inside, my skin immediately growing sticky and hot, making me wish that it was a swimming pool instead of what I assume is a giant hot tub. The wolf starts to strip off his clothing. And I need to hide this part. Give me a sec. Because unfortunately you could see a lot of things during this scene. Is this the one? Oh yeah. What? Oh, it's locked. Why do I have a problem doing this? I want to mess with this one. Okay, wait. I'm so bad at doing this. First, fit to screen, then press shift. Nope. Wait, this isn't fit to screen. Why is it doing that? Okay. Shift. No! Ah! Oh. Okay, there you go. It should be fine. Alt Kenny, yes, I found it. Okay, another. You know, I was surprised I didn't get trouble for that with Uncle Neighbor. But I wonder if it's because, like, technically the cock was underwater, and I wonder if, like, that didn't count. I don't understand how that works, but I'm surprised I didn't get trouble for that. Okay. The wolf starts to strip off his clothing. Oh, okay. Okay. You can't see it. Good. Maybe, yeah. It wasn't like fallout out there. But so you could see something below there, but I can see it, but you guys can't see it. But just something's there. Oh, I've been needing this all day. Also, excuse my nudity, but the water isn't kind of good clothing. Otherwise, I keep the underwear on. If you had that non-censor version, though. Well, this game doesn't have that, because this game technically doesn't have like a safe for work version. I think you can't really like stream this game because it's not a category. But that's why I have to be careful. I don't want to get in trouble. I shrug. It's not like that I haven't seen it before. Right. The wolf lays his clothing down on one of the benches, his new sweaty form obscured slightly by the steam. He stretches, arching his back, his thick body thinning out a bit as he does. His pee-pee also sticks out quite a bit, and even though I might have seen it before, the shameless display is a bit much and I have to look away while I slowly strip off my own robe. You're joining me, yes? Yeah. Good, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's very hot, but you get used to it. Amicus walks up to the edge of the pool. There are two methods. Either you get in slowly or all at once. And with that, the wolf jumps into the pool, practically cannonballing into the center and sending up a huge wave that washes over the side. The water that creeps onto my feet is hot enough to make me flinch. Amicus comes back up, his fur plastered to his face as he gasps and lets out a strained yell that makes it sound like he's in pain. Oh! Ow, 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 ow! Are you alright? I walk to the edge, feeling the hot water under my feet. Fine, fine, just getting used to it. Oh, and now I am. Amicus grins up at me. I stand there in my underwear, frowning down at the water. Come in, it feels good. That didn't look like it felt good. Quit being such a flower and get in. It's only the first few seconds that are painful. Flower, the mean insult used by the wolves when attacking someone's masculinity. Well, I guess you do have a really low pain tolerance, so I start to dip a toe in. Hey! Amicus glares up at me, then grins, and I know that look well by now. Hey, don't! The wolf glides up to the edge of the pool with only half of his muzzle sticking up in the water like an ominous furry shark fin. I start to move back, but then that's when Amicus suddenly rises out of the water, stepping onto the underwater bench along the edge of the pool that I hadn't seen. He wrapped his arm around me, his hot, fur-plastered body squeezing against me for a moment, then squeezing even harder as he physically lifts me off the ground and falls back into the pool. I only have a moment to try and fight the wolves off, uselessly pushing at his bulk before I plunge into the steaming hot water. For a moment, I wonder if I'm going to boil alive, but as soon as Amicus lets me go, and with my head breaks through the surface, I can already feel the sting wearing off into a pleasant warmth. I cough a few times, making a face that's salty at the salty tasting water, spitting it out. Ha 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 ha, see? Not so bad if you do it all at once. I spit out more water. Aw, bad taste, don't worry, it's just the minerals in the water. I shove a wave of water into Amicus' face, sending it right into his open mouth. He coughs and spits, choking out the water I just forcibly slammed down his throat. Ugh, you ass! The wolf paws the water out of his eyes, looking ready to try and splash me as well. He sees me also at the ready though, hands up to my chest and ready to send another wave into his face. Well, that's enough roughhousing, I guess. Oops. Stuff like that is best left for the lake. Hey, you started it. Amicus ignores me, instead moving to sit on the underwater bench. I do the same, sitting a foot away from the wolf, enveloping my face in the steam that rises off the water. Doesn't this feel good? Now that I'm actually paying attention to the sensation of the water, I have to agree. The heat seems to seep through my skin and into the muscles, sending a pleasant shiver up my spine even though I'm completely warm. Yeah. I need to do this more often. All this official business nonsense is starting to weigh on my mental capacities. Is it really nonsense? For the most part, it really is. So much useless etiquettes and protocols. Sometimes I completely understand what it is Cassius dislikes about the current way of things. What way of things? Oh, just the way politics works, never saying what they're actually thinking, using coded language. It slows things down, but I know there are reasons for it. Keep things civil and peaceful, mostly. And Cassius would do away with that? He would do away with many things, current political protocols being one of them. It's one of the main reasons he's so popular. Well, you seem to kind of agree with it. Getting things done without all of that official business nonsense in the way could be a good thing. Amicus sinks lower into the water until it's up to his neck. Remember the story I just told you about Drusus and Mira? Yeah. Well, whether that story is true or not, He was the one that started the way we do things to this day. Before him, well, we had a string of populist emperors, and the results were not great from what I've heard. Honestly, I completely understand what makes Cassius appealing to the people, and it's something that I sometimes want to do myself. The only thing holding me back is history. Time and time again, whether a leader like Cassius has come around, it only results in a weak and isolated empire. Well, from what little I've heard, isn't that how it is now? Well, yes, but that's because we were never fully transitioned to an outward-looking and outreaching empire. Juice started it, but it's taken us 10,000 years to get here. It was much worse back then, and that's what Cassius wants to go back to. I intend to take some of the final steps so that we may join the other siblings on the journey to the parenthood. Oh, so that's the goal for everyone, to become a parent. Yes, and to continue the spread of our culture beyond the galaxy. So, what makes you a parent? When we can travel to the other galaxy in a practical manner. Oh, so why not just use the stretch drive for that? It is not possible to harness enough power to use the stretch drive for such distance. The parents have a different method, but they haven't told us how, obviously. So are you close to doing it? To intergalactic travels? No. Is anyone? Well, there are rumors that the KimmyKins are on the verge of it. It wouldn't surprise me, as I'm assuming that they already know how to use their own stretch drive. This talk about the stretch drive reminds me of something. So, when I was out serving Cassius, Amicus growls softly in his throat as I remind him. Well, they were talking about stuff about the stretch drive depletion, or whatever. Oh. Yeah, so apparently no one knows why your parents stopped talking to you guys, and Virginia was saying that you might never leave the star system again? Oh. I frowned at him. Well, that was rather presumptuous of her. Is it true? Well, no, I mean, sure, it doesn't happen often, but they stopped immediately after father's death. There's no other explanation other than our parents knew that they would be issued with emperorship. The stretch and the contact with our parents will be reestablished once I become emperor, I promise you that, Kenny. Amicus says it with his usual confidence, but that doesn't settle the anxiety in my stomach. I sigh in frustration, closing my eyes. Why is everything so complicated with you? What do you mean? If you just tell me the actual truth about everything that's going on, I wouldn't feel like I'm being hit over the head with something new every other day. Kenny, stop worrying. I know things seem unsure, but it's only because of the precarious position our empire is in right now. Once I become emperor, things will settle and we'll figure out how to get you home. Welcome back, Light. Your wife, Leah's here. Amicus sets a paw. Right now, you can't see the text because there's some things showing on the screen, and even the game is showing Kenny. Aww. Yeah. But there's something showing right now, so that's why you can only see half the screen. You guys can imagine what it is. But I would say, like, yeah, I do kind of like Amicus that way, because Amicus is always like kind of like positive thinking, forward thinking. He's always reassuring you. I feel like that is someone I wish I had in my life, you know? Like with my past relationship, I feel like I never really had someone like that. So it'd be nice to have someone like that, you know? Always support you. Always try to, you know, reassure you. If only. A motivational talk on the sauna. That's where all the good talks are. The sauna. Amicus has a paw on my shoulder and turns to look at him. My expression probably still gloomy. I will get you home, Kenny, that I promise. And even if the stretch isn't immediately restored, I will find a way. Even if it means making some sort of deal with another sibling, like the KimmyKin. Amicus frowns at this last statement. Remember that, guys. For the future. Still, that does set me at ease, and I place my hand on his paw. You need a man who makes you... I hope I find someone like that. Thanks, Amicus. Amicus' very serious mood dissipates with his ears comes as he smiles. So you're feeling relaxed again. That is why we're here, you know? I smile. Yeah, I guess so. Good. We fall into a bit of a silence, then I lean my head back against the ledge of the pool, letting the warmth take over my body. It makes me feel heavy and tired, but good. My head slips off the ledge a few times as I doze off a bit, each time waking up before my head can go into the water. Amicus noticed the third time this happened. Sleepy? A little. Lean against me so that you don't make the bottom of the pool your new bed. I hesitate. Is a dating situation that bad? I don't know. I don't know if it's like a here thing, if it's a me thing. I really don't know. I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. I know I have some blame to it as well. Don't worry, we already share the same bed. Amicus stretches an arm out over the ledge behind my head, not even looking at me as he does. I get a weird feeling that I'm in the movie theater and my date just tried to casually rest his arm on my back of my chair. But my head feels even heavier than the rest of my body, so I give in, letting it rest against Amicus' massive bicep and shoulders. I close my eyes, but then crack them open just a bit to look at Amicus. He seems to be trying to stifle a smile. We've had a few moments like these. At this point, I'm not sure if it's because he likes me or because he sees me as some sort of actual pet, like a cat curling up in your lap. I don't have much time to give it much thought because I start to fall asleep again. I'm not sure how long I'm asleep, seconds or minutes, but that's when I hear the door open. It's not a loud sound, but Amicus jumps, which makes me jump. We both look towards the door. Nefarious stands there, his eyes on us, the same smile on his face. Oh, imagine running into you again today. Again, Nefer talks directly to me. Without waiting for an answer, he strides in, paws bustling, tugging at his loincloth. I'm sorry, I've come into the bath every day for the past week, but I've never encountered anyone. He strips off his loincloth, so now only in his undergarment. I was beginning to think that it was never put to use. He starts to unwrap said undergarment. I found that strange, considering how incredibly relaxing the water is. It's such a great way to clear the mind and meditate. He unwraps his underwear, the cloth tied in a way that looked much more complicated than my own. Not that I mind. I always enjoy good company and conversation. And now there's 2 PP on the screen. I have just enough time to notice the anatomical differences between the Amicus and the fairy before I look away, feeling awkward staring at someone I barely know in the nude. I'm not sure who he is talking to either, whether he's moved on from me to Amicus or if he's still exclusively zeroed in on me. There's something that's going to happen soon. Hopefully this is enough to cover everything. Either way, Amicus answers while I stare at the steamy water. I see. I also enjoy the baths. It's just that we tend to be so busy these days. Oh, I imagine. Nefer's voice gets closer behind me as he speaks, his soft footstep barely audible. Being adrift without an emperor can really hamper an empire. At this point, it sounds like Nefer is standing just over me, and I can only imagine what else is just over me. Dick. Amicus is craning his neck, looking up at the jackal. Well, we do have an emperor, just not an official one yet. Indeed. I hear a soft splash next to me, and out the corner of my eyes, I see one of the jackal's leg dipped into the water to stand up on the bench, followed by the others. Ah, that's nice. I took a rather long walk in the gardens today. It left my paw rather sore. This is a welcome reprieve. Amicus grunts next to me, then actually pulls me in a bit with his arms. Neferi then gently hops off the bench to submerge himself to his neck. He lets out a soft, drawn-out sigh, his eyes closed before he pulls himself onto the bench right next to me. Amicus lets out a sigh of his own, though this one's much more shorter and very annoyed sounding. We don't have baths like this in our palace. I might request one though, once I return home. Again, Amicus barely responds, letting out a half-hearted grunt. At this point, the wolf has his arms completely around me, practically pulling me into his chest. It's awkward, and we sit there for a while, maybe just about 5 minutes before Neferi finally speaks again. So, how long have you been here, Kenny? I give a stare, then look up at Amicus. One of his eyes twitch, but he gives me a short nod. 2 weeks. Again, I have to hold my breath to stop myself from laughing at my caveman speak. For some reason, it's incredibly hilarious even when the situation is totally serious. So you need permission to speak to me. I did not know that you were so strict with your slaves, Amicus. Amicus coughs in surprise. He's my pet, not a slave. Oh, maybe it's a lingua issue, but from what I've seen, there's very little difference. You do enslave your children after all, no? Where do you find these games, Kenny? Well, funny story. This game kind of like showed up to me like randomly on YouTube, and there was like a thumbnail with Amicus right here, his like face on it, and I've seen this character like, you know, in like other places, but I never really knew that he was like linked to a game per se. And there was like a 3-hour video about an explanation of Adastra, of this game, and I like watched it for like an hour, and I kind of got interested, and I started playing, and I got hooked, and yeah, I really like the story, so now I'm sharing it with you all. I don't know if it's pets better than slaves. You take a sip of water. But this game made me ugly cry. I won't be ugly crying today though. I'm not gonna get that far, but I thought I'd get through the first trial, but like it's already been like 2 hours. I'm not even there yet. I forgot all about this bath scene. I forgot how long it is. Amicus quiet for a moment. I look back at him to see him staring at the jackal, his mouth open. Hey newbie! Oh, thanks for the hydrate. Let me hydrate again. Thanks for the stretch. Let me do the stretch. Yeah, this is my second playthrough. But this game makes me feel happy, so it gives me hope. But yeah, it's my second play. That's why I'm streaming it, because this game has a lot of like nudity. And so it was good that I played it beforehand, so I know where the nude scenes are at. Because I think I'll get in trouble if I show that on Twitch. I don't know how Twitch works sometimes, you know. But like if the hot tub streams are fine, I feel like a drawing of a penis should be fine too. But who knows how Twitch works. And I don't want to risk it, so. But yeah, I played it before, so I know where all those scenes are. So that's why I'm covering it like how I am covering it here. Because if not, you'll be seeing 2 hot dogs on screen. One is more defined than the others. But I won't say which one. You have to find out on OrangeTube if you're curious. Amicus is quiet for a moment, and I look back at him to see him staring at the jackal, his mouth open. Are you alright? Excuse me, but I'm finding your question a bit pointed. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been told that our way of speaking can be a bit blunt by your standards, but considering that the topic of slavery is simply always pointed. Well, why don't we move to a less pointed topic then? Of course. So Kenny, what is your species? I must say that I've never seen your kind before. Amicus' arms tighten around my shoulder again, but he doesn't say anything, staring straight ahead at the other side of the pool. It's our main boy, isn't it? No. No. Why would you think that? It could be Neferu. He's a very elegant man. uh, Simeon. Neferu chuckles next to me. You know, you don't have to speak in such a simple way to me. I already know that you can converse well enough. I stiffen up, but Amicus jumped in front of me. What are you talking about, Jackal? Oh, are we already jumping to informal language? Well, I'm simply referring to his intelligence, Wolf. I'm confused as to why he's downplaying it for me. Well, I don't know how you know anything about him. Come, Kenny, let's head back to my room. Amicus stands up and pulls me up, but Neferus stands with us, reaching out for one of the white towels. That is why I'm trying to make conversation with him, but if he needs your permission to do anything, including speak, then maybe I should leave your slave alone. Amicus turned on the Kimmy, not bothering to hide his anger anymore. He is not a slave. Please refrain from calling him as such. If he isn't, then he should be able to speak freely. He is able to speak freely, Jackal. Then I have to wonder why he asks your permission and stupefies his speech. It's all a bit odd, isn't it? Again, I don't know how you know anything about him. Alex told me. The Jackal grins and I note that he's using Alex's shortened name. Amicus stares in surprise. So don't worry, Kenny, you can speak without worrying about what I might learn. Neferus sets a paw on my shoulder and Amicus' hackles raise. Gently but firmly he reaches out to move Neferus' paw off my shoulder. Please, do not touch my pet. Oh, so he needs permission to be touched as well. Amicus steps aside, partially blocking me from the Jackal's view. What is your concern with them, Neferu? I am simply interested in intelligent species that I've never seen before, and well... Neferu reaches out over Amicus' shoulder, touching my hair and rubbing it between two finger pads, similar to what Amicus sometimes does. He is fascinating looking. Ugh. Okay, good. Can't see anything. I start to move my head away, but they're like out there. The nips. I start to move my head away, but before I knew it, Amicus has Neferu shoved up against the wall, one paw on his chest glaring into his face. I said not to touch him. His voice is low, almost too quiet for me to hear. I want to jump in somehow, maybe push Amicus towards the door so we can just leave and not cause an interstellar incident, but they're both so big and intimidating. Alright, sorry. I keep forgetting that he's not a slave with the way you treat him, needing your permission for everything. He doesn't. I step forward then. Well, you need my permission. The statement just sort of slips out of my mouth, my irritation with the Jackal growing along with Amicus. Nefer's eyes widen for a moment before his smile returns. Ah, so it's true. I knew I saw intelligence in those eyes. Despite having a canine that's a good deal larger than him pinning him to the wall, Neferu seems quite calm. You know nothing of the way I treat him, and please do not call him a slave again. It is an affront to his actual status. Again, my apologies. He looks at me. May I touch you in a friendly manner in the future? Upon the shoulder, an embrace even? Kemians are always physically intimate. I stare at him. No. The way they're having this argument naked. Amicus snorts with his satisfaction, blowing back some fur on Nefer's face. Now kindly leave my pet alone in the future. He's very busy. Again, this language implies that you own him. It's confusing to me. Amicus growls, but Nefer doesn't seem to notice the warning. I suppose it's only natural for a slave-driven race such as your own. You believe you own everything, and everyone lowers on the hierarchy. Amicus' eyes widen, nostrils flaring. What? I'll have you know that they are servants, and I do plan to change. Never mind, it is not your place to criticize my empire. Nefer seems to have taken some interest in what Amicus just said, pausing for only a moment before speaking again. Your empire. Didn't you say someone else was acting as the empire? Emperor? The empire belongs to all wolves, but I'll have you know that I will become the Emperor, Jackal, and in keeping that in mind, you should learn to hold your tongue if you want to establish an alliance. Ah, but does the empire belong to the servant that mine your natural resource across a dozen of planets in our galaxy? What is your issue with me, or are you this rude to everyone you meet? The jackal is quiet and Amicus just growls at him, waiting for an answer. Then when I realize Nefera isn't even looking at Amicus's face, he's looking at... And now I'm looking at it. I realize that it looks a bit bigger than usual. You know, I heard rumors that the Emperor's son was a tail raiser, but honestly, I wasn't expecting you to use this moment as an opportunity. Did you just simply want to get your paws on me? Oh. In one smooth, fluid motion, Neferus spins into Amicus's, thumping his back into the other canine's front, making the big wolf grunt and puff air onto the top of Neferus' head with an oof sound. Nefera leans there against the wolf, holding onto his big paw while the other comes up to tease at Amicus' chin. Amicus looks surprised, but he doesn't do anything to push the jackal away. Meanwhile, the jackal's rear pushes firmly up against Amicus' crotch. Amicus seems frozen, staring down at the jackal. From what little I learned about Adastra slang on TV, Nefera has just implied that Amicus is gay. What? If you were interested, you only had to ask. I know that the woven ways are flirting are rather aggressive, and even though we jackals do things differently, I can adjust. And that, Amicus glares and roughly pushes Nefera away, sending the jackal to stumble against the wall. He turns around swiftly, his grin still in place. Oh, did I get the wrong idea? I assume after you groped my chest and became excited. Nefera gestured down at Amicus' crotch, the wolf erect pee-pee still waving around a bit after the jackal had spun away. Immediately, Amicus covered himself with both paws, glaring. I did not, and you were the one to touch my pet without his permission. Amicus looks around for his underwear, snatching it up and begins to tie it on. I quickly grab a towel and my robe, feeling completely confused as to what the hell just happened. Again, I thought he was your slave, but you're right. I should have asked for permission. His fur was simply mesmerizing, so I forgot myself for a moment. Nefera turns to me and bows. Good day, Kenny. I wish you luck in relieving your master's carnal desires. Nefera gestures at the fumbling wolf as he tries to tie on his underwear correctly. And to you, Amicus, again, if you're interested, you only need to let me know. Are you joking with me? Nefera is already striding off, grabbing on his own underwear and loincloth as he does, not even finished tying it on by the time he's walking out the door. We both stand there in silence for a bit, staring at the door slides all shut. The Amicus grabs up the rest of his clothes with a growl, turning to me. And I think now I should be fine to show. So let me bring it back. Sorry. You alright? Yeah, of course. What? Come on. And then Amicus is walking off even faster than Farrah had. I quickly follow, not bothering to put on my robe since I'm still pretty wet. We walked in the hall, Amicus muttering under his breath the whole time. Unbelievable, unbelievable! How would he have the nerve, arrogant Kimmy ass? As we make our way toward Amicus' room, I go over what just happened in my head. It seemed Nefera was making some kind of point about slavery, while at the same time taking a strange interest in me. On top of that, the obvious sexual tension between the two of them was really odd, especially the way Amicus just stood there and let Nefera rub up against him while he was clearly hard. Is this just how these aliens hit on each other with all that bizarre macho aggression? If it is, then I don't like it, but that doesn't matter. I'm not here for that kind of stuff anyways. What? What? I'm not? I just need to go home. But at the same time, there's a little spark of jealousy in my chest at the thought of Amicus being interested in Neferu. I don't know why, but the way he treated me at that pool almost seemed like flirting itself. I don't believe you. And then to immediately have eyes for Neferu. As we walk into Amicus' room, I can't help myself. Well, here it comes, me being a little shit. So, is that the woven way of flirting? I ask it casually, trying to act like I don't mind. What? Definitely not. That damn jackal was assuming quite a lot. I mean, I feel myself blush. You were getting kinda hard while you had him pinned against the wall. I mean, I'm not offended or anything, I'm just curious about the culture. Yeah, I'm curious about the culture. If that's how you guys go on about things here. Amicus sighs heavily. I suppose wolves have a reputation for being aggressive when it comes to courting a mate, but those days are long gone. The jackal was simply relying on dated stereotypes. Okay. I adjust my robe a bit, the cold air of the room seeping through my still wet underwear. Not to pry too much, but... Are you gay? Nefair seemed to imply that. Amicus freezes, staring at me. He doesn't seem to know what to tell me, like he's afraid of what my reaction might be. I remember then how stigmatized homosexuality is here. Homophobic slurs are used a lot in films I've seen, including tail raisers and cocklicker. Cocklicker? They lick on roosters? What? It's weird because males seem to be pretty intimate with each other, kissing and holding paws being common between close friends. However, there are lines that aren't crossed, and actually being gay was looked down upon, which is what Nefaria accused Amicus of being. I quickly tried to reassure him. You know, it's a fairly accepted thing on Earth these days, and I have no issue with it. If you are, you can tell me. Amicus goes on staring at me for a little while, longer than sighs. I have a preference for males, yes. What? No! I did not see that coming. I thought I was playing a straight game. He winces right after saying that. No way, me too. How convenient. I also have preference for males as well. What are the odds? Whoa. He winces right after saying that. Hey, it's fine. Like I said, it's pretty well accepted in a lot of places on Earth, but explains why you were getting hard in front of Neferu. Listen, it wasn't what I intended when I first grabbed him. I was trying to defend you. Ah, I see. Amicus blushes all over again. The wolf turns away and walks over to the sofa before slumping onto it, leaning his face into a paw, looking frustrated. What's wrong? Well, that jackal for one, and I don't know, are you disgusted with me now? How would I be disgusted with you? I don't know, you must see past incidents in different lights, like the massage and wrestling and the dance. I promise those are truly pet duties, and I was only having a bit of fun at the amphitheater, and I only did what the dance called for. I shake my head. I think you've been really good about not taking advantage of me at all. It's fine. Amicus looks at me unsure. And you never have to do those things again if you don't want. I'll understand. I raise a hand up. Seriously, you're fine. Amicus looks away, looking relieved but still ashamed. I'm sorry, it's just something that followed me most of my life. I had an incident several years back and it created a lot of rumors about me. The people weren't very interested in having a tail raiser as their emperor. Amicus finally looks at me. So I tried to keep it quiet so that it might be forgotten, though it mostly was until the KimmyKin mentioned it. Amicus growls. Anyways, I'm sorry. I suppose it was something I should have told you, considering how close quarters we've been living. The wolf looks so dejected, so sad, I decided I should tell him. You know, I'm... What? You know, I'm gay, too. Amicus snaps his gaze back to me, eyes wide. What? I feel my face turning red. Plot twist. I'm the same. I like guys. Amicus squints at me like he can't quite believe what I just said. Are you making fun of me? What? No, I'm telling you so you don't feel so bad about it. It's fine. Oh. That's quite the coincidence. Yeah, coincidence. Yeah, it is. Well, thank you for telling me that it's easy to do. At least it isn't for me. I'm the same. I slowly walk over and sit on the sofa next to the wolf, feeling strangely awkward about a little coming out conversation. Amicus still looks a bit uncomfortable, but at least he doesn't look sad anymore. So, since we're talking about all this, what was Nefarious saying about me helping you out with your dick? Is that a pet duty too? No, there's no explanation why his brows look like that. But I think his sister and even his brother Cassius, I think all their eyebrows are like that. It's just a design choice. Oh yes, yes it is. But again, I would never ask that of you. As a pet at the suck pee pee? Ah, that sounds like the worst job ever. Does Alex do that? Amicus pulls a face. Well, I'd rather not think of my brother in such a situation. Yes, he does. But does that mean your brother's gay too? No, well, not as far as I know. He doesn't have a preference for males. Isn't that what makes you a homosexual? I shrug. So, I just give you a hand job or something? I can tell that the lingual had no trouble translating that to Amicus because he immediately blushes again. I squirm, wondering why I'm asking so much about this topic. I'm curious and I already know that I'm attracted to this wolf. I'd given up on denying it a while ago. It can involve a lot of things. I mean, if you want to do it, I have no objection, but it's your choice. Amicus sounds tentatively hopeful and I realize that he actually wants it. Yeah, sure, what is it? It seems that every day I go further and further with this wolf. I laugh, partially at Amicus' expression and partially because of the absurdity of this entire situation. How about if we win the dance trial? I'll think about it. I'm speaking without thinking. Amicus quiet and nods. Sounds fair. I try to think of something else to talk about, still shocked at what I have just proposed. So what's the deal with Neferu? Why he do all that stuff in the bath? I honestly have no idea. It was very strange. Do you think this is a way of furthering an alliance? Not if he has any common sense. I thought he was going to be friendly considering he knows I'm open to the alliance, unlike Cassius. I lean back on the sofa thinking, maybe he was just feeling you out. Amicus smirks at that. You could say that. Anyways, I don't know how to feel about him. I'm thinking of just telling him that I'm not interested in an alliance unless they send someone that has more tact. Amicus glances at me. What do you think? So this is interesting. The choice here is kind of interesting. But let me check out the 7TV app. Sometimes for some reason, like when I open 7TV, like it doesn't load the preview. It's not showing me what it is. Oh. Okay, we can add that. Deeks. So this place is it's very suiting for my channel. But this decision right here is quite interesting. And I think if I reject him from getting close to Neferu, it changes the story. And I think I don't get the true ending. But it's kind of interesting when you choose to talk to him more option, which that's the option I have to choose. But pretty much this decision right here is going to cause something to happen later during the second trial. But it's interesting that I'm the one who pushes him for him to do this certain action that he's going to be doing. But pretty much if you reject them, or if you reject the idea of Amicus getting close to Neferu, it kind of, I think you get you don't get the best ending, is all I can say. But it makes sense for him to get close to Neferu because that essentially it would help me out, but something is going to happen. Is all I say. Sadly, we won't be able to see that today, though. It's a little bit further in the story. Well, I think if he's the only guy you have to establish the alliance with, you should try to work with him. I mean, this could be your best chance if you're willing to put up with him. And he seems to have a lot the hots for you, so that'll probably help you, honestly. Heh, maybe. But I don't know, I'm not a politician. But you are smart. Thanks. Anyways, I'm off to my shower. The wolf stands up and I do the same. Do you need help? Oh, really? Yeah. I want to show him that things haven't changed. That I'm not scared of him now that I know his secret. He looked so devastated when he told me. And if Amicus was the one to get me into this mess, I know now that he's a good person and doesn't deserve to feel like that. I mean, I've seen your junk already, so no surprise there, right? Yeah, I suppose no, if you're sure. I'm sure. To decide things for the wolf, I walk into the shower. Amicus isn't far behind. We fuck in the shower room. No, we don't. But imagine. Hot shower fuck. I dream a lot the night before the first trial. I can't remember most of it, but in the last bit, I'm in the throne room, surrounded by dozens of wolves I assume they're the triumphrates. Kato sits on the throne watching over all this, his chin up in a fist. Meanwhile, Amicus is in the center doing some type of breakdance. He's athletic and light on his feet before throwing off his cape and doing a handstand. Then he spins on his head for a while as the wolves around him cheer. Even Kato claps reluctantly. Meanwhile, Cassius has his paws to his mouth, realizing that he's been beaten, a paper bone incapable of withstanding such incredible moves. Then I wake up. I open my eyes and see the dark outlines of the ceiling above me, the light automatically coming on to a dim yellow glow. I hear Amicus soft snoring next to me and look over, seeing that he's flat on his back, mouth open and hugging one of his mini pillows to his chest. I rolled onto my back, feeling the anxiety of the upcoming trial return. After a while, I whisper up at the ceiling, "Calm, what time is it?" So both of them like each other and they're rubbing each other while at it but aren't going to do anything. Brought attention to Yeah, pretty much. But we don't get to know their true feelings for each other for a while, though. It is kind of frustrating in that aspect, but yeah. Calm whispers back. Half past the first hour. So I have at least 3 hours left before I can get up and get ready. Oh.
Self-voicing disabled.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. I close my eyes to try and get more sleep. It's hard though, mainly because my future could be determined today. Amicus told me that I wouldn't last, I know that for damn sure. Well, well, that's the reason why Amicus is kind of reluctant, but we'll know that later. There's something that happened to him, which makes him kind of... That's why he was kind of like... he was kind of like distraught when you asked him if he was gay or not. Because something happened to him. And that's why he's kind of like afraid to accept this, like, you know, his desires. He'll tell us soon, but I think it's kind of sad. But then, oh, there's so much I want to say, but I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, I won't say it. I'll say it when I get to it. But yeah, it'll make sense later why. Amicus told me that we really only need to win this trial to win the whole thing. No spoilers, no spoilers. Because if we win tomorrow, that means that Cassius will at least have to partake in the combat trial, if not outright lose if we win the second trial. And according to Amicus, Cassius has absolutely no chance in Puganu combat, and he knows that. While he might still participate in the second trial to save some face, he had to withdraw for the third, otherwise face outright humiliation. So if we win tomorrow, I'm almost guaranteed a way home. The thought that this whole fiasco could be over soon brings mixed feelings for me. While I'm going to go home when I get the chance, I can't help but feel a little sad at the idea of leaving Amicus in the palace. We're good friends. at this point, and the thought that I might just get dropped off and never see him again. I sigh and listen to the wolf rhythmic snores. The sound so soft and gentle that rather than keeping me awake, it starts to lull me back to sleep. I forgot, is it the trial now or? But he said tomorrow, right? Again, I find myself flowing as that wide, vacuous conscious that seems to bleed over the boundaries of any sort of individuality. I don't panic this time. I'm used to the feeling, knowing that's just a dream that will pass. I also sense that another presence above me, even wider than I am. They've been following me around since I got on that ship. Knowing that someone else is there calms me further, and I wait wondering if they'll ever talk to me again. They do. I am still curious. I try to talk back this time, ask them what they're curious about exactly, but I don't have a mouth to speak with. They seem to hear me though, and in response I sense gentle amusement mixed with fascination? Many, many things, but once again, I'm afraid I have to keep it short. I wait expectantly. Do you feel that Amicus would be capable of his duty as Emperor of Adastra? I think this here too. If you make the wrong choice, you head to a different ending, but you have to say yes. Ah, how interesting. The presence above me starts to dissipate, and so do I. Who's talking to me? I believe in him. He's my wolf. Oh, okay, so this is okay. Let me go pee because the first child's gonna start. So let me go pee pee. Sorry. I should be able to get done with the trial, and then I'll probably stop streaming so I can make dinner. Because it's almost 9. But last stretch. Here we go. Make myself comfy. Okay. I'm standing awkwardly in the bathroom while another wolf moves busily around me, making short clip comments about my odd shape and tiny structure. He's the first wolf I've seen that isn't part of the Imperial family. So I keep trying not to stare at him while he turns my head left and right, smudging a black substance on my face while he does. Meanwhile, Amicus stands behind us, his face showing a mixture of amusement and concern. I raise an eyebrow at him through the window, but he just shrugs in response. Do not move your face, please. I look straight ahead again, letting him smudge the black makeup on my face, still trying not to stare. He's hunched and droopy, wearing some type of monocle with flashing lights. The lens sticks out every now and then with the mechanical droning sound as he examines his work. Also, I'm in a dress. There's no getting around it. I'm in blue, tight-fitting gown that covers an intricate gold design. Fabulous. It's beautiful, no doubt, but I'm not really one for dresses, and I feel my face heating up with embarrassment every time I look into the mirror. So instead, I focus on staring at the wall at Amicus. So why aren't you getting dressed up? Do not speak, please. Me? Well, I'm already dressed as the part of the Emperor. Amicus fanned out his cape with both paws. I start to roll my eyes, but stop myself before the wolf can yell at me again. I realize that he's painting black stripes on my face, and it immediately reminds me of the tiger stripes. After that's done, he does the same to the exposed part of my arms. Remember not to touch or itch your face. Also, keep your arms away from your body unless you want to ruin the fabric with powder. The wolf finally steps back, giving a snort of approval before stuffing his equipment into his bag. Thank you. You're welcome. And with that, the old wolf hurries out of the bathroom, leaving the two of us alone. I stand there a moment, staring at myself in the mirror, feeling like a circus attraction. I look awful. Amicus coughs and steps up quickly, resting upon my shoulder. You look very good, actually, very elegant. I look up at the wolf and see him smiling at me. I don't know if he's trying to make me feel better, but then again, I suppose wolves don't really have an idea of what human beauty standards are. I look back at the black stripes on my face. Are these tiger stripes? Amicus raises his eyebrow. Yes, actually, you have tigers on Earth? Yeah, is this like okay with them? Not offensive? It looks like a joke. Offensive? Why would it be offensive? We're honoring Mira with this dance. If you're sure. Of course, I'm sure, and you don't look like a joke. You look like a strong, beautiful Hindu tigress. I sigh again, still awkwardly holding my arms away from the dress, feeling stiff. When does this all start? Well, for me in about 20 minutes, but for you, another hour or so. Alright, anything I should expect before this starts? Not much. The triumvirates will be watching through the video link, so only Kato would be there to judge. Oh. Keep in mind that it will all be televised live to the rest of Adastra, so... I can see the looks on my face. Maybe I shouldn't have told you that. All of Adastra live? Don't worry, no one will actually be there in person, so just pretend, I guess. Why did you just tell me that? Well, I had planned on watching the first half of the trial in the dining room. You'll know how everything's going until it's your turn. I swallow hard. I didn't mean to keep that from you. I just thought you might know this would be the case. The entire moon pays very close attention to these trials. He's right. I guess I sort of did assume that would be the case, but now it's actually happening. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll happen when Mira dies during the dance? Listen, you'll be fine. We'll win this, and before you know it, I'll be emperor and our problems will be over. Again, the idea of having my way home all about guaranteeing the next hour. It reminds me of the thought that I had last night. So, this part's sad. So, when I do get home, is that going to be the last time I see you? The corner of Amicus' mouth twitched down in a frown, but only for a moment before he smiles again. Well, I suppose that's up to you. With unlimited access to the stretch, I might be able to make a visit every now and then. Would you like that? I don't even have to think about it. Yeah. Amicus smiled widen. I would as well. Yeah, I mean, you're my friend. And I want to hear about the result of your empire. But then Amicus' smile falters and turns into a frown. What? The wolf is quiet for a moment, then his ears flattens. I forgot the reason you're here in the first place. For a moment, I don't know what he's talking about, then I do. We're not even supposed to know each other's exists. This whole thing is against the law. Oh, so I guess we wouldn't be able to do that, huh? Amicus bites his lips and shakes his head. We'll figure it out, but now is not the time for that. We have a trial to win. See, that's... I need someone like Amicus. Amicus turns to me and after a little hesitation pulls me to a quick side hug, carefully avoiding the black powder on my arm. We'll talk more afterwards over a celebratory dinner, alright? The absolute confidence and reassurance in Amicus' voice calms me just a little, and it makes a small smile. I need a confident man. Am I right, ladies? Alright. Good, and a little more celebration after that if you get my meaning. I had almost forgotten about that. Amicus. If you want. Amicus chuckles before his ear perks up, his personal calm talking to him in quiet babbling sound. Alright, that's my cue. Head to the dining room if you'd like to watch. Otherwise, Calm will tell you when to leave for the throne room, alright? I nod and Amicus gives me one last pat on the shoulder before turning away. Good luck. I know you're gonna do great. Amicus waves at me before walking out the door, leaving me alone to wait. I move to the bed and sit down, carefully resting my arms out to the side, wishing that they applied the makeup a little closer to the dance so I didn't have to walk around like a scarecrow. I realized pretty quickly that sitting here in silence is only making me more nervous, so I slowly get up, making my way to the main hall. As usual, the halls are empty. The only people living here are the Imperial siblings, Kato and Neferu. The old makeup was only the only person I've seen over the past 2.5 weeks that I've been here. It makes me think that I still want to see the city before I leave. If I leave. I blocked that thought from my brain, trying not to think about what might happen if these trials goes poorly for us. Instead, I tried to let the bright sunshine and fresh morning air calm my nerves. Eventually, I make my way to the dining room, and when I look in, I see Alex sitting on one of the beds. His ears perks up as he sees me, eyes widening in surprise. "Oh, hello, Kenny. How are you?" He stares at my face, then looks down at my costume. I feel myself turning red, and I desperately wish that I had stayed in Amicus' room. I'm able to swallow the embarrassment down for now, though. I know Alex pretty well, after all. "Where's your costume?" At this point, I feel like I'm the only person being made to play dress up. I sit down on the middle bed, not wanting to be directly across from the cat where he had to stare at me. Should I be in one?" I shrug. "I don't know, they put me in one, obviously." "Obviously, in the powder, too." I glare at Alex. "I mean, you look good, very bold." "So why the hell aren't you dressed up as Mira? We're doing the same dance, right?" "Well, yes, though Cassie's instructions that I be in my underwear. Actually, I think I prefer your situation." "Sure." "Seriously, you think I want all of Adastra to see my naked torso?" Alex hugs himself, shuddering. "It's so embarrassing." I sigh and sit back down on the bed, only now noticing that Cassius is on the screen, playing some sort of brass instrument that looks to be vaguely in shape of a French horn. It sounds nothing like one though. The volume is low, but I can hear the raspy, sputtering sound it's making. Not pleasant to my ear, but then the idea of the music and dances seems to be very different from Earth. Well, I prefer being half naked, and if this is my introduction to the moon, why am I covered up like this? I'm pretty sure they'd rather get a better look at what I actually look like. As I'm saying that, I wonder if maybe that's why Amicus had me so covered up. The dress looked very good, and actually, it's the makeup that surprises me. I suppose it's very woven to do something like that. I look at Alex frowning. "Woven? Is this offensive?" Maybe just a smidge, but not to the wolves, so you have nothing to worry about. The Hindus don't talk to Adastra anymore." Oh my god. I want to bury my face in my hands, but I can't with all the makeup on. On top of that, it's all starting to itch. This is so stupid. Alex chuckles. "It really is. The wolves are so obsessed with spectacles and drama, which is why the trials are used instead of elections, or even just sound judgment from a council." Alex gestured up at one of the screens. "It's an Adastrian holiday right now, so everyone can watch this." Cassius has finished his little song, standing up and bowing. Along the right edge of the screen, 5 little boxes pop up, each one containing the faces of the 3 wolves sitting solemnly side by side. Though, in a way, the people are having a role in choosing their emperor here, with their elected triumvirates making the decisions, but then I don't understand why the song and dance should apply. So, why would Cassius and Amicus campaign if they're just going to be chosen through these trials? Well, if the decision is clear, then why not choose the wolf that has the most popularity with your people? It increases the chances of re-election. Amicus suddenly appears on the screen, sitting down a spotlight on him as he begins to blow in the same instrument. Again, that raspy, battling sound that would make me cringe if it were a human instrument at a human concert. I have no idea if he's better than Cassius or not. And general popularity is good to have anyways. Happy people is usually more peaceful and easy to control society. So, Amicus is at a disadvantage then? Unless he clearly outperforms Cassius. I sigh, watching as the wolf cheeks puff up each time he blows into his little horn, his eye almost crossed with effort. "I guess you elect your officials?" "Yes. So does most of..." I find myself almost saying the name of my planet again. It's harder and harder to keep this secret from Alex, especially as our relationship has become more casual. Our tribes. At least I think that's what they are on the Simenian planet. I just have to hope that Alex doesn't actually look it up. But he continues on like he didn't notice my pause, like he always does. "Anyways, despite the competition, I still consider you a friend and I hope you feel the same. Maybe we can have lunch in the garden soon, no matter the result?" "Yeah, let's do that." "Wonderful." We sit in the silence for another 10 or so minutes, watching as Amicus finishes his horn playing. Then Cassius takes the spotlight again to begin singing. It's actually just howling. Cass's head leaned back, muzzle tipped towards the ceiling, looking just like a wolf on Earth as it howls to the moon. I think he's saying words, but I can't really understand, especially with the odd, high-pitched tone it has. Meanwhile, a little gauge pops up in the bottom screen, a needle going back and forth with the pitch of the howl. They want the indicator to stay in the middle. It represents better control over their songs. It's short, only a few minutes before it's Amicus' turn, doing much the same as Cassius, except the howl is deeper, fuller. A lot better, I think. I also like to think that the needles stay in the middle more often than it had for Cassius, but I'm not sure. Towards the end of Amicus' song, Calm's voice crackles gently over our heads. Alex, Kenny, the dance begins in 5 minutes. Please proceed to the throne room doors. My heart skips a beat as we both stand up, Alex leading the way to the hall. I wonder if he's nervous too. The first trial's about to start. Even though he looks calm, his tail lashes back and forth as we walk. I don't try to talk to him, feeling like we're both a little preoccupied with our own thoughts right now. We get to the big double doors and wait side by side. Alex's paws are folded neatly in front of himself, so I do the same. I try to breathe evenly. I've never been good in front of big crowds, and even though it's technically only Kato in there, I can't forget the fact that millions of people are going to be watching. Dance trials began in 5, 4, 3, 2. The door slides open, and I find myself staring into a darkened throne room, the windows deeply tinted so that only a vague hint of sunlight comes through. I immediately see Amicus straight ahead of me, bathed in a bright spotlight. The same can be said for Cassius about 10 meters to his right. Kato sits on the throne just like in my dream. I also notice Virginia and Nefarious sitting next to each other on one of the benches. Down low makes me even more nervous, but then a voice comes over in the PA. Not calm, but someone else, sounding old and frail. Presenting Pet Alexios from Moon Ormfra and Pet Kenny from Planet Simia. Amicus and Cassius reach out one paw, and Alex starts to walk towards on his toes, looking light and sophisticated. I quickly follow suit, trying to sort of mimic his walk. I never practiced my entrance with Amicus. I start to wonder if I'm even more underprepared than I thought I was. No, time to think about that now. I do the best I can with my stupid prancing walk before coming to a stop in front of Amicus, reaching out a hand to rest on his big paw. He smiles reassuringly down at me, and for some reason his presence makes me a little less nervous than I had been while waiting alone for the trial to start. We stand there quietly for a moment, but then the old voice starts up again, but now it's in a howl, high, wavering, and faint. Explorant Adavirivoro. He starts to recite the story in the same howl, but it's hard to hear, and now that there are words... Wait, I can't understand it. He's speaking. Oh fuck. The lingua isn't translating the song. Immediately I start to panic as I see Amicus raises his paw. I probably have a look of horror on my face because his reassuring smile has turned to a frown. Jerkingly I raise up my hand to touch it to the both's paw, trying to stay calm. I can do this. Sure, I touch a lot of the movements of the words in the song, but I remember the order of the poses, I think. Still, the unexpected blunder has me flustered and stumbling, my movement hesitant and definitely unelegant. I'm so frazzled that I don't really have time to dwell on the fact that Alex and Cassius are doing the dance at the same time. Are we competing for Kato's and watching the triumphant's attention? I try to stay focused on Amicus, watching his movement, hoping that I might remember enough of his cues to get through all the movements correctly. My falling apart must be affecting Amicus as well, his brows furrowed in confusion, his movement also becoming slower and more hesitant. Fuck. I think I feel sweat running down my face, probably turning my stripe making into a shriek mess. Several times I'm caught staring at Amicus, unsure what to do until I look over at Alex to see what he's doing. The cat looks totally in his element, stretching and elongating his body luxuriously in tandem with Cassius. The wolf isn't bad himself, taking the clear lead in the dance as he dips and sways with Alex's body. Meanwhile, I fumble around with Amicus, watching as the powder on my sweaty arms smear on his fur, leaving long black smudges on his chest and arms. Finally, we get to Mira's death, and at least I know this is supposed to happen when I see Amicus reach out dramatically for me. This is the only moment in the entire dance that I feel confident in what I'm doing, and I put everything into my swoon, but so does Alex. Amicus is already next to me, catch me before I can start to fall, but Alex swoons while Cassius is still meters away from him, but the other wolf smoothly glides to his side to catch him. Alex lays there in Cassius' arms, splayed out dramatically, looking somehow serene and distressed at the same time. The spotlight almost makes the pair glitter, and even I feel like there's a good deal of chemistry between the two of them. There's had been a small but definite hope on my end that Alex might help us out here, maybe throw the dance in our favor with a fall or stumble, but it looks like he's putting everything into the performance. Cassius, despite his reputation of being weak, looks strong and confident, easily supporting Alex's weight as the cat dips further towards the ground. At the same time, the wolf's howl reaches a new pitch, the climax of the story, and that's when Alex turns his head to Cassius for a deep, passionate kiss. Even though Mira is supposed to be gone at this point, Alex reaches up to caress Cassius' face, pulling him in deeper. Meanwhile, their bodies press closely together, Cassius very clearly grinding his hip against the cat's, the paw that's now supporting Alex instead running up his thigh, before dipping under Alex's underwear, pushing it up until most of the cat's thighs is showing. And they just breathe against each other like that, as if caught in the throes of passion, the movement of their muzzles telling me that a lot is going on past those lips. The entire act stuns me, almost making me forget about the disaster that our own dance has been. Cassius turns, carrying Alex with him as he faces them in the other direction, never breaking the kiss. In fact, their groping and grinding getting even more intense. He's giving everyone a good view of what's happening. If the whole idea of the dance is to capture attention and make the story feeling believable, well, I believe them. In fact, I believe there's a lot more going on between those two than I originally thought. That might explain why Alex wouldn't want to hurt Cassius' chances of being Emperor. Maybe my hopes that Alex would help us were completely naive. And that's when I suddenly snap back to reality as I hear Amicus grunt above me. I've been so enamored with Cassius and Alex's kiss that I've forgotten our own. Seeing a preview of what I might have to do with Amicus though, I blush, stealing myself, getting ready as the wolf starts to lean down and towards me, his lips puckered up slightly. I ready my own lips, but then suddenly Amicus turned his head to the side slightly, laying the kiss on my cheeks instead. It's soft and fleeting, and before I know it, Amicus has pulled back before gently lowering me to the cold marble below. The way this is written is so fanfiction style. Feel like I'm in my Wattpad era. Aww. This makes me feel like I'm not meant to be here. No, you guys are meant to be here. I do like how they explain like everything like this. I never really read like fan fictions growing up, so to me everything's so new. I'm like, ah, interesting. Yes, yes. I recognize the word Adastra and the how before everything goes quiet. I hear Alex getting up a few feet away, so I do the same. Amicus quickly hurrying over to help me up in my dress. It's very romantic, but because it's like, wow, boy, I need to leave. It's only then that I see the various drones floating above us. The attached lenses make me realize that they're cameras. Like I'm actually... Yeah, but that's good though. That's good storytelling. It makes you feel like you're there. Like you're like a fly in the wall. I quickly duck my head, not wanting the people to see the smeared offensive makeup on my face. Amicus holds me close to his side, not saying anything, thankfully. Cassius continues to look straight ahead, and I can see Alex glancing at us, looking confused. Is she reading too? Am I doing a good job? Do you guys feel emerged? Then Calm's voice. The triumvirates have made their decision. Yay! Lupus. Cassius. Irote. Cassius. Lux. Cassius. Gebi. Cassius. Tricell. Cassius. Adastra? The camera drone swivels to focus on Kato. Thanks, Liam. He shifted on his throne before grunting out his answer. Cassius. The trial has been decided. Cassius is the victor. It's a moment of stunned silence, then the windows untinted and the camera drones lazily drift away up into some ceiling compartment. I'm left standing there looking around at the others. Cato's walking down the steps from the throne in the direction of Cassius. Meanwhile, Virginia's whispering to Neferu behind the fan she's casually waving into her face. Cassius is petting Alex's head, murmuring to him under his breath. Finally, Amicus stands awkwardly to my side, not even looking at me, his paws behind his back and his eyes on Cato. Suddenly, I realize again how stupid I look. Can I go change? I mumble to Amicus, keeping my voice low like everyone else as if we're in a library or something. Sure, do you want? I don't let him finish. I'm walking as fast as I can to the double doors, knowing that everyone's eyes are on my back as I pause to touch the black panel. Drama Queen! Once again, I'm in the main hall. I'm able to breathe a little easier, starting to feel the anger coming up through the absolute humiliation. I don't know exactly what I'm angry at. Not Amicus, even though he maybe should have had an idea that hows don't translate. Not Cato or Triumphrates, they made their right decisions. Oh, a little bit of explanation. So the wolves, they have their own language. And then in the beginning of the story, Amicus like implanted some translation device on top of my left eye or something. So that's why I could talk to Amicus and I could also understand Amicus and he could also understand me, vice versa as well. But the lingua is a device as they call it. They don't translate like howling, which I guess this is what Amicus was telling us before, like in Adastra when they sing is very different to like what it is in Earth. So they are howling the song. That's why the main character didn't really understand what they were saying because the lingua can't translate the howls per se. So that's what happened during the trial. So pretty much the trial got botched by us because we didn't know the words, and that's how the main character learned the dance, through the words that Amicus told us. But because we couldn't hear it, that's why the main character like got flustered pretty much. Just a little bit of some info there, because maybe it's not that clear, but I've been a complete disaster out there. I guess I'm just mad at this whole system, that the responsibility of getting home rests on me just as much as the guy that got me here in the first place. It isn't fair. So I guess I'm pissed at Amicus in a way, but the anger is a lot broader than that. I'm angry at the entire situation. I go straight into the bathroom, roughly trying to yank off the stupid dress. It's tight around my neck and I spend the next minute doing an awkward dance, trying to find the buttons on the back so I can loosen it. Eventually I just rip it off before wiggling out of the dress, feeling a little guilty only after I see the beautiful fabric crumbled up on the ground. I stand there, breathing heavily, sweaty and hot. I look into the mirror and I'm a little surprised to see the makeup still mostly intact on my face. Which reminds me, I'm also pissed that the first time I get paraded out in the public is a racist costume and makeup. I get in the shower, letting the hot water run over my face, feeling a little better now that I'm alone with my thoughts and out of the tight dress. Still, my mood is a bit dark. I guess now I can actually start to consider that I might be living here forever. Oh no, that would just be the worst. While my mind initially rejects the idea, I guess it's not the worst fate. I'll at least be living in the palace with Amicus and know he'd take care of me. At least I think he would. Maybe this whole pet thing is temporary, and if he loses his trial, he'll just throw me out with the trash, maybe kill me like he once mentioned on the ship. Under my gloomy contemplation though, I know that's not the case. He wouldn't do that, but I can't promise myself that I'd be able to keep friendly with him if things really do go south. He told me this would be easy so many times. Even if the lingua hadn't messed up, I doubt we would still have won. After a good half hour, I finally get out of the shower. I stand in front of the fans for a bit, enjoying the way it whips my hair around before I pick up some underwear off the hook and tie it on. I'm pretty fast at doing that now, not even having to think about it. Finally, I open the door. The cool air that rushes in is refreshing after such a hot shower, but I immediately traded to the side of Amicus walking away from the door, probably in the middle of pacing. He immediately turns around at the sound though, his eyes widen. Hey Kenny, how are you? Great. I walk over to the dresser, opening the one that full of children's robes. Really? Sure. I hear Amicus huff behind me. Please, I don't want to deal with the mood with you of yours right now. I just want to talk. That's fair, but him telling me to stop sulking is making me sulkier. You know, I would have loved to just talk like a week ago about this stupid trial. Imagine how much better it would have been gone if I actually memorized the dance rather than just following cues from you in the song. I whip out a robe. Which, by the way, isn't a song. You always make fun of Earthlings and our primitive ways, but at least we could actually have a variety of music. Oh, and we can actually sing, not those creepy howling sounds that sounds like you're dying. Amicus frowns at me, his ears flat. You were upset. No, what made you think that? Stop it, Kenny. I'm just upset and disappointed as you, probably, or was it the cameras? Maybe Kato that made you nervous. What happened? I know, I'm so feisty. I'm quiet for a moment as I start tying up my robe. Then suddenly, Amicus' paw reaches out, grabbing my right hand and yanking it away from my clothing. What? What happened to your paw? I look up and see the wolf staring at my palm side of my hand with wide eyes before turning it this way and that. What? Your skin, it's bunching up and you have a reaction to the powder. I stare at him, confused before pulling my hand away to look at my pruny fingers. No, I was just in the shower too long. My skin does that when I'm wet for a long time. Oh, I've never noticed that before. You take short showers. The wolf frowns at me, then snatches my hand up again to stare at the fingers in fascination, even as I try to yank it back. At that point, I feel my mood about to take turn in one or two directions, either exploding at Amicus in frustration and anger over everything, or just laughing. And I find myself doing the latter, chuckling at first before letting out a loud guffaw. Guffaw? Amicus gives me a strange look, finally letting me go. Are you sure you're alright? You're worrying me. I sigh as I finish tying up my robes before flopping back onto the bed, hands above my head as I let the pleasant, cool air drift down from the ceiling to blanket my body. The fuck is guffaw? It sounds like something like Goofy will say. Guffaw? I know I'm going to get cold in a few minutes, but for now it feels good. Remember how you said the lingua has trouble translating some things? Yes, I hear the wolf pauses as he figures out what went wrong. I heard nothing but wailing Latin and the howling noise. I had no idea what I was doing. Oh gods. There's a heavy thump and I feel the mattress crater and tilt sideways a bit as Amicus sits down next to me. So yeah. Kenny, I'm so sorry. I didn't even contemplate that possibility. It's fine. I don't think either of us could have. I mean, I've listened to music from cats before and I've never had an issue with the lyrics translating. I shrug. I don't know. Doesn't the lingua try to understand intentions too? Maybe I'm meant to hear the true language when you guys sing. It was happening while you were doing your song, even though I didn't realize it then. Oh, you heard me sing. I can hear the embarrassment in Amicus' voice. Yeah, it sounded fine, honestly. I was just being a dick earlier. I know. But still, I'm tired of you trashing on human culture. See, the main character says that, but the main character also trashed on like Adastra culture, so I'm just like, Sir, you need to first check yourself before you wreck yourself. I know. And I knew that makeup was offensive, by the way. I looked like an idiot for all of Adastra to see. Guffaw's kind of a laugh, like chortle. Humans don't really have culture. You look good. I turn my head towards the wolf. Oh, really? Fumbling around like an idiot with no clue what he's doing looks good? Right. Good. You know what? Good thing this wolf can't see the color red. Haha. Good thing dogs are colorblind. Haha. He can't see the red flags. Amicus stays quiet this time. I stare back at the ceiling. I guess at least I'm keeping up the dumb, primitive ape act, right? Amicus just sighs, getting up. I watch as he slowly walks over to the sofa to sit down. I have to say that although you are a very kind, intelligent person, you're very frustrating when you get into these moods. Frustrating? Me? Just so gloomy and self-defeating, you remind me of Cassius sometimes. I pull a face. Since when is he self-defeating? He seems pretty full of himself to me. You don't know the real Cass. He's very much dislikes himself. Also, don't compare me to your brother. I hate when people do that too. People could say, if people compare to my brother, say like, you're being like a Utah, I'll be like, ah. How dare you say that? I'm nothing like him. I really don't want to be thinking about him right now. I'm just saying I prefer you in a lighter spirit. It suits you more. That's gross. I'll work on it. A long silence goes by, and with the way that Amicus is shifting around, I can tell that he wants to ask me something. What is it? Well, I guess that little celebration is out of the question now. The dinner? I set up something, giving him an incredulous look. Seriously? Whoa, I was just kid. We just lost a trial. You're one trial away from losing the emperorship, and you're seriously thinking about that? I was just having a bit of fun. No, you want a pity handy. It's not like I need you to do it. I can get the job done myself. Then do it. I will. Erica's sister huffily not making eye contact. I sigh, remember what the wolf had said about improving my mood. I often criticize Amicus for his tantrum, reminding him that it won't help us to sulk. What a man response. It's a kind of a hypocritical that I don't hold myself to the same standards. Sorry, I just got a lot on my mind, obviously. Listen, I know this went much different than what we had planned, but I'll certainly win the next trial. I debated Cassius many times before. Do I have to do anything? Other than watch, no. A cock? I love watching. When is it? 2 weeks from now. You better win. I will. I sigh again, realizing that not having my stomach in the past few weeks has a bit longer to stick around. And I might still make a jacking motion in the air. Later on, I'm just not in the right state right now. I understand it was too early to make light of things, though maybe we could do something else that would make us both feel better. Something else? Yes, like I could just hold you. Anika's voice gets uncharacteristically high on the last word. Hold me. I repeat his word. Why would you want to do that? Well, companionship is part of pet duties, and holding or embracing is often how it's expressed. It might also be comforting to you, consider how stressful the past few hours have been. Again, that hopeful look, and again, I actually feel bad for him. How lonely do you have to be to just want to cuddle someone? Hey! Hey! There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong wanting to cuddle. So rude. But at the same time, I want to. Cuddling is nice. Fucking. The main character is kind of an ass. I might not want to admit it. Oh, it's a pillow. All I have is my big dakimakura of a naked man on it. That's the only way I feel warmth. Don't judge me, game. I might not want to admit it, but I've also been lonely these past 3 weeks, emotionally and physically. Also, I really like our short hugs, so a longer one. Trying not to look too eager myself, I sigh and stand up. I have a Bobby bear. Amicus' ears immediately perk up in happy surprise. He leans back, legs together, waiting as I walk up to him. Do you... I sit down in his lap, a little awkward at first, as I wobble around, then I finally settle on turning sideways, knees drawn up as I lean my shoulder against his chest. Amicus pauses, then wraps his arm around me. Despite the awkward start, I'm amazed at the way I just sort of fit against the curve of his body. His big, furry arms envelop me, and I feel the muscles tighten briefly before relaxing. His soft stomach cushions against my side, making it feel as if I'm leaning against a big furry but firm waterbed. His chest is broad and thick, propping my head up comfortably as he scoots his butt out a bit to help us better recline. Then he tucks my head under his chin. And just like that, I'm surrounded by his warmth, the cold that had started to bite at my bare skin dissipating immediately. I feel a little thrill in my chest at the feeling of having this wolf so large and powerful hug and cuddle me so gently. Something about this is so nice. Amicus just holds me in the silence for a while, and I feel his paws shift around a bit, like he's kneading through the robe to the skin on my back. Finally, his deep voice rumbles to the chest and against my ears. Is this alright? Yeah, this is fine. I blushed, embarrassed at how much I'm enjoying this. Originally, I just wanted to make him feel better, but he was right about this making me feel better. I know. Amicus rubs his. I want to cuddle too. I need a nice cuddle. I want to be the small spoon. I want to be the little spoon. It's been way too long. Amicus rubs his chin down against the top of my head and I hear him inhale. I suppose this isn't a normal thing to do on Earth. Well, it is if you're dating someone. It's not usual thing with friends though. Ah. Amicus paws at me a bit more, making those tiny movements as if he's trying to feel me as much as possible without being obvious about it. What is dating on your planet? I shrug, though it's hard to do against the wolf's tight embrace. Just asking someone you like on a date basically just means that you like the person and you want to know more about them, and dating helps you do that. Oh, sounds fairly casual, so how does one initiate dating? I don't know, just ask them, get them flowers if you're old-fashioned, but it's pretty casual, honestly. Flowers? Giving? Leah? No boundaries? Why are you so curious? Stop it. He was just old-fashioned, Leah. He was old-fashioned, you know? It's Amicus' turn to shrug. I always want to be careful about your boundaries. Yeah, he wants to be careful with my boundaries. Ah, I'm glad Amicus gets that. I always want to be careful about your boundaries. It's easier when I understand your culture better. Amicus is the real, he knows. He wants to be careful, but breaks them all. I lean against the wolf, realizing that even though I made a complete fool of myself just an hour earlier, I feel fine. I kind of hope that this isn't the last time we do something like this. Knowing Amicus, it's likely it won't be. Okay, so I was gonna end here, but there's a very cute scene that's gonna happen soon, so I just want to do that and then I'll be done. But it's so cute. It's so cute. It's so cute. I just have to do it. It should be like 20 minutes or something. It's a few days later when I'm finally able to hang out with Alex like we planned. Cassius has stepped up his campaign over the past several days as this chance of becoming emperor increased. So did Amicus after his decrease. The difference being that Alex often found himself going on campaign trips with the White Wolf while Amicus always left me behind. I think Amicus had picked up on the fact that I don't like being out in the front of so many people after the whole dance incident. Still, he promised me that when he wins the next trial, we'll go out to the city to celebrate. For now though, I'm happy to stay in the garden with Alex, enjoying a quiet midday meal as we both talk and sip our tea. Honestly, Nate, should have redo the dance with your lingua wasn't translating. Was yours? Well, no, but I knew it wouldn't. It was never intended for the lyrics to translate with the lingua because it ruins the how, which they see to be the whole point of singing. I could understand Amicus overlooking that though. Most wolves never see another sibling species in person in their entire lives. Well, it's over now. On to the debate thing they're gonna do next. Oh yes, Cass has been training with the best rhetorician on the moon, Marcus Manius. I noticed that he puts a bit of emphasis on the name and I look over at him. Alex sips at his tea daintily, watching the fountain lazily. He's offered Cassius many tips on convincing the triumvirates. Very useful tips, actually. Is Amicus doing anything similar? I realized that then that Alex has offered me information on what Cassius is doing to prepare for the trial. At least I think he is. Whether that's the case or not, I try to remember the name of the retort guy, knowing I should tell Amicus later. I'm not really sure. He hasn't told me much about what he's doing, but hopefully it's something similar. Well, I recommend he study the triumvirates in their cities, if only to find the best way to convince them during the second trial. Yep, definitely offer me information. Thing is, after seeing the way he and Cassius interacted, I wonder if I can truly, fully trust him. You know, Cassius was saying something earlier while I was serving him about a week ago. Did you know he has plans to get rid of the triumvirates? Alex's eyes widened for a moment. Oh, really? I wonder why. Something about it being easier to rule directly rather than through elect officials? Well, that's some radical thinking, isn't it? That's what Virginia said. Well, she's always been rather reasonable. Honestly, Alex leans in, lowering his voice. I'd rather she become the empress, but unfortunately the wolves don't allow females to hold positions of much authority, so her chances at the throne are nil. Alex's eyes suddenly widen as he looks over my shoulder. I raise an eyebrow, then look back to see Neferu making his way toward us. I turn around to see Alex looking down towards the ground, his tail lashing around before he holds up in the lap. The jackal stops to stand in front of us. Without a word, he delicately takes one of Alex's paws and bows low to kiss it. Alex raises his other paw to his mouth, blushing furiously. Meanwhile, Neferu just nods at me. Good day, Alex and Kenny. How was your midday meal? Alex still has his paws to his mouth, so I answer for him. It's okay. How are you? Splendid. I notice then that he's carrying a bottle in his paw, the glass glinting in the sunlight with his every move. I was just taking a walk through the gardens this morning when I happened across a shockingly large spider that skittered across the ground with my paws. Neferu sweeps his paws in front of him as showing where the spider ran. I can't help but wonder if I'm in danger here. Alex finally speaks up then, speaking with his first syllable. No, they're rather harmless. Their venom is very mild. Ah, well, that's a relief to hear. Alex, on my home planet, I often have to shake my loincloths out before wearing them in case of scorpions. Oh, really? That's terrifying. It certainly can be, but it's something you get used to. Alex and Neferu smile at each other for a moment, and I frown at the cat, wondering what the hell he's doing. Oh yes, I came to give you this. Neferu leans down and holds out the glass bottle, and now I see it's filled with a honey-colored liquid that sloshes lazily in the bottle. The Buna seed oil, I promise. Much better for the fur than the Adastra oil they have for us. Alex reaches out and takes the bottle, blushing again. Thank you, Neferu. I'll use it first thing tomorrow. And I'll see you again tomorrow to make sure you do. The jackal winks, and I think Alex makes a strangled noise in his throat. In the meantime, would you like to take a walk with me? Neferu once again extends a paw. Alex coughs awkwardly before reaching out to take it. Wonderful. You're always such a great company. Would you like to join us as well, Kenny? I think back on what happened in the baths. No thanks. In that case, I'll see you around the palace. Yeah, see ya, Kenny. Neferu offers arms to the cat, and just like that, they're off into the gardens, disappearing over the many bushes lining the footpaths. They're banging. They're banging. They're banging behind the bushes. I stare at them a bit confused, still unclear on what exactly Jackal's doing. Oh, the Q scene's coming here. I kind of like the Jackal. Yeah. A lot of people like him. But the Q scene's coming up. I am also reminded that I need to ask Alice about why the hell he told Neferu about my intelligence. Only problem is that I don't know how to do that without seeming suspicious. Technically, there isn't a reason why it's supposed to be a secret, and I feel like bringing it up will only give the cat reason to dig more deeply. As I'm wondering all this, I notice a shape in the bushes near the ones that Alex and Neferu disappear behind. Then I see a flash of red and maybe an elbow poking out. Who could it be? What the? Amicus? I yell in the direction and I see the wolf jump, suddenly coming out from behind his cover. Yes, was just having a look at the roses. The wolf walks towards me, his paws behind his back. I raise an eyebrow at him. Were you spying on us? Were you trying to avoid Neferu or something? Amicus ignores me this time. How was your day, Kenny? Okay. I try to look around the wolf's side at whatever he's hiding behind his back, but he turns accordingly to keep out skirt. What are you doing? Whoa. Amicus takes a deep breath and I feel myself starting to get nervous. Then he goes down to one knee. Kenny, over the past few weeks, I've come to enjoy your company immensely. My mouth drops. And over the past few weeks, I've come to realize that we share so much in common in terms of our goals and desires. Amicus gives me a cold smile at that. What are you... So I decided that I should take this next step to make you feel more welcome and to show you how much I appreciate your kindness and understanding. The wolf suddenly swings his paw to his front, revealing what he's been hiding. It's a bouquet of purple flowers, lavenders to be exact, along with several smaller white flowers sprinkled into the mix. Kenny, will you date me? More. This is why he asked us how to initiate dating the night prior. A bit much other than that, cute. But then, okay, then watch my asshole MC react. I stare at the wolf, still taking in the presentation he'd given me. My mouth still opens and I make a few sounds as I try to form a coherent sentence to respond in my mind. Oh, I probably messed that up, huh? Well, hopefully the message came across clearer. What do you think? I'm stunned. I think Biggie's gonna get pissed. And that's good? Amicus, what is this? I did something wrong, didn't I? No, you did not. Well, I mean, did you mean to do it? The whole thing is crazy, but Amicus' demeanor doesn't really match with the proposal. He's just meek. Did I mean to ask you out on a date? Well, yeah, did you? Yes. Now the wolf is really fidgeting, tugging at his cape nervously as he lowered the bouquet to hang limply at his side. I have an odd butterfly in the stomach feeling that won't seem to go away. I don't know what it means, but I try to ignore it. No! No! The wolf suddenly deflates, looking dejected. Did I pick up the incorrect meaning? I clear my throat, trying to gather my wits. What, do you think dating is? Well, what you told me, it's a relationship status that enables you to become closer, learn more about each other, along with normalizing physical intimacy. Well, he seems to have it down for most parts. The part that I'm having trouble with, though, well, it's the part that just annoys the fuck out of me. Well, people that they also tend to have, I guess, feelings for each other. And did we not establish that Amicus have feelings for you and you have feelings for Amicus? Well, yes, I have a very friendly feeling towards you and I want to make you more comfortable around me, especially when it comes to physical intimacy. Isn't that the point of dating? I sighed, realizing I hadn't explained it well enough, but then I hadn't realized that Amicus was planning to do this either. Well... Well, usually people don't do it unless they love each other. That's not true. People go on dates all the time. People go on dates all the time without love being in there. My voice gets quieter and quieter over the course of the sentence until Amicus has to poke his ear forward to hear me. Love? Don't fucking... Yeah. Oh! Amicus stands there a moment before the inside of his ear turns bright red. You said it was casual! It is casual! It is casual! Amicus, you didn't do anything wrong! The MC's stupid! The wolf raises his voice. The sudden increase in volume makes me jump. Well, it is. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be in love to date, but the intention is usually to find love. No, it's not! The intention could sometimes just be find dick! Like, dick! They don't have to be love to get dick. Ugh. This dumb MC. Dear gods, was your intention just to humiliate me after the dance? Exactly, Snahi, exactly. What the hell are you talking about? How was I supposed to know you're planning this? By the way, I mean, MC is 20, so he does get a pass for being dumb, but a lot of people aren't that smart. By the way, what Amicus did here about, like, asking you about, you know, to doing something, like, you know, like dating in this case, and then kind of following through, remember that for later. Because there's gonna be another cute scene. I think me asking those questions had made it fairly obvious. Yes! Yes, Amicus, you're right. It was obvious. You're doing way too much. I'm a dummy! Clearly. The boy tosses the bouquet to the side, letting it land on the bench before it rolls off to the ground. Amicus slumped onto the bench next to me, his ears still red. I let him grumble to himself for a moment or two, wanting to let him cool off from the initial embarrassment. Then I reached up to a hand on his broad shoulder. Chance! It's Chancey boy! Sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you. Besides, how are you supposed to know? It's an Earth thing. Amicus waves a paw. It's fine. Like you said, I assumed too much. I lean over to pick up the bouquet, seeing how the flowers just kind of look bunched together. You make this yourself? Well, yes, the garden has many flowers. It smells like you. Yes. It looks good. Thank you. We sit quietly for a few more minutes, then I pretend to examine all the flowers in the bouquet. So it's either friendship or love with humans? No physical intimacy unless you're bound to fall in love? What do you mean? Like this dating culture you have, you were interested in giving me that sexual favor. Does that mean you're also interested in love with me as well? I blush. Well, not exactly, I guess. Didn't you say dating allows for more intimacy, but dating is also meant to look for love? I sigh. And real IRL Kenny is sighing as well and set the bouquet aside. Things are changing, becoming more casual. I say the word carefully, Amicus snorts. But I guess the term you might be looking for is friends with benefits? Benefits? Friends that have sex, basically. Oh, I see. We haven't done that, though. No, but I'm not gonna make you date me just to get a hand job. Why not? Why not? Hey. Amicus scratches behind his head before looking away again. Once again, I find myself feeling bad for him. But you could. We should. You know, we've been away from Earth for 3 weeks. I'm feeling lonely. I'm sure I have so much sexual tension built up in me. Like, you know, we could just skip the formality, you know? Listen, if we weren't having this whole, I lower my voice, illegal space adventure, I might say yes. What? Really? I said might. Oh, really? I think you're missing a key word there. I think I understand. I find myself turning red again, wishing I just kept my mouth shut. Well, maybe I might as well. Well, you already asked, without knowing the full meaning. I try to think of something else to change the subject, knowing that my blush is clear as day to the wolf and that he's very much enjoying it. Anyways, Alexis told me that Cassius was training under a rhetoric person, Marcus Manlius or something? Amicus suddenly frowns. Marcus Manlius, really? I think that's what he said. Damn. Amicus tones that of awe. Is that bad? It's simply surprising. He's the most famous Adastra rhetorician there is. Should I be worried? No. In fact, now that you told me, I'm much in better shape. I now have an idea of what style he might use, so that will make it easier to counter his points. If you're sure. Of course. Now come to my room to help me practice, just to make extra certain I'll win. We get up and walk back to the palace through the gardens, leaving the bouquet of flowers behind the bench. Amicus seems to have gotten over this embarrassment about the whole incident pretty quickly. Just like him to be able to do that, actually. In fact, we're laughing and talking just as easy as we always have, the wolf nudging me every few minutes to punctuate something he says, each one causing me to stumble. Anyways, cows tend to start over his words in front of large crowds. Not much of a rhetorician can do any about that. The wolf reached out a paw, pressing it into the back square. Besides, what exactly is he... Oh, you know what? This is a good part to end, actually. Amicus and I stare in surprise as Cassius stares back at us with looks like even more surprise. Then his eyes narrow. Excuse me? He tries to move around us, but Amicus blocks his way, growling. What the hell are you doing in here, Cassius? Amicus seems to reserve his actual yelling only for Cassius, so it makes me jump when I hear it. Cassius collects himself quickly despite Amicus' intimidating snarls. Not much of your business, is it? If you're in my room, then it is my business. What are you doing? The wolf starts to advance on Cassius, stopping just a feet away. Move, Amicus, otherwise I'm calling Kato. Amicus eyes Cassius closely, then finally pulls back, folding his arms. Snooping around to find something that might give you a chance in the trials. I can tell you now that you'll be coming up short. Obviously, you have nothing to offer to help me win. Then why you come here? Cassius ignores the other wolf, walking past Amicus before passing by me. He turns then. And you know, I shouldn't be worried after the pitiable display you and your pet put on. He turns to me and I can't help but frown at him. As stupid as he is ugly. I know that Cassius is trying to get under Amicus' skin. He knows that he cares about me, but as Cassius reaches out to brush my chin with a paw, I can't stop myself from baiting it away. Cassius' eyes widen, then I see his paw draws back. I flinch, but immediately Amicus is there, reaching out to grab Cassius by his cape. The smaller wolf is pulled back from me, but Amicus doesn't stop there. As Cassius stumbles past Amicus, the bigger wolf swings his paw, smacking Cassius square in the nose. Cassius immediately goes down his ass, at which point I hear another sound. Amicus and I stare down at the smaller wolf as he sits there, stunned. Then he suddenly scrambles up to his feet, a paw to his rear. Amicus, you bastard! Tail-raising lovers of ass! I take a step back as Cassius practically sprayed blood from his mouth. Amicus pulled me to his side, eyes narrowed, but I can feel his heart hammering against my shoulder. I'll throw you both in the dungeon for that! I'll have him executed when I'm emperor! I see tears start to spill out of Cassius' eyes before he turns and stumbles out of the room, his tail hanging limply to the side. Amicus and I stand there for a long moment after he leaves, the silence almost oppressive after the loud fight. A few minutes later, Amicus is flat on his stomach, looking under his bed as he mumbles something under his breath. I stand awkwardly off to the side, watching as he sweeps a paw underneath, as if feeling for something. What are you doing? Amicus grunts as he gets to his knees and stands up, looking up at the ceiling as he turns in a slow circle. Looking for whatever Cass might have been doing. You know what he was doing? I have my suspicion. Which are... Amicus stops his turning and looks at me, folding his arms. Well, I'm not sure, but a recording device possibly. Or he was just snooping for information. Kimmy asks, calm. No, his capabilities are very limited despite what his intelligence might suggest. He doesn't record our activities especially so we can't spy on each other. Rules put in place millennia ago. I sigh and look at the door, still feeling a little shaken up at what just happened. Why can't you just lock the door or something? Amicus shrugs. That's something only the emperors can do. Again, rules that have been in place for a very long time. That doesn't seem safe. Well, only the most trusted are allowed in the palace after all, which tend to be only family. Aside from Neferu. Aside from him, yes. You don't have much freedom for being the Emperor's son. You just noticed. Amicus huffs and stands in the middle of the room, his arms folded, a deep frown on his face. He was probably just trying to find out what you're planning for the next trial. We know some stuff about him already. Amicus continues to look concerned. What is it? Amicus lowers his voice. Worrying might have something to do with you. After what he said as he was leaving, it's left me uneasy is all. Oh yeah, the thing about executing me. I haven't had the time to think about the possibility of someone on the verge of near absolute power wanting me dead yet. Do you think he was serious? Amicus quiet for a moment. No, but obviously I'm not going to assume he wasn't. I won't even give him a chance at the emperorship now. I frown. And And you were going to before? No, I'm just going to make extra sure now. I'm quiet, deciding to sit on the bed instead. I don't like that the situation has become a lot more serious than it was already. After a moment, Amicus comes to sit next to me. The depression he creates in the mattress forces me to lean sideways into him. That's cute. He wraps an arm around me. Don't worry about it at all. He has no chance, and besides, I wouldn't let him touch you. How would you be able to do that if he's the Emperor, though? Well, I'm also his older brother. Some relationships don't change, even his official ones do. I stay quiet and convinced. Anyways, he would look awfully bad on his record. You should let his anger get the best of him. He'll quickly forget about the matter with the next trial coming up. Amicus squeezes me. And this is all assuming he win. He won't. That's what you said last time. And we had an unforeseeable mishap last time. There isn't much possibility for one of those happen in this trial. We sit there for a while longer, Amicus rubbing my shoulder with his paw. Despite my rising anxiety, it's comforting, and before long I'm leaning my head against his shoulder. I think that's a good place to end the story for now. I got through so much today. Oh my gosh! I didn't think the first time was this long. Damn! I almost did this for 4 hours. But yeah, we got through the first trial, and honestly, the second trial is when stuff really starts picking up. So, if you guys are interested, if you guys got interested after this after this section, then please come back for the second trial, because it's really when the story really picks up and the relationship between Amicus and the main character really deepens during the second trial. So if you thought everything else was cute before then, it's gonna get super cute next.